Thanksgiving, John. Happy Thanksgiving, John. Hey, John, happy Thanksgiving.
What's going on here?
Well, okay, so normally we record on Thursdays, but we're recording on Wednesday this week, but I was going to pretend like it was Thursday, even though this podcast comes out on Sunday, and say happy Thanksgiving to you. Also, we played Battlefield 5 on Thanksgiving, and so we didn't have a special Thanksgiving video. Not enough games have a Thanksgiving update.
No.
That's
not a lot of Thanksgiving themed games.
That's BS, man. I don't want to watch football. I need something to play on Thanksgiving.
Oh, no, man. See, fuck football. You know what my Thanksgiving tradition is?
What's that?
Is MST3K Turkey Day.
Oh yeah, and
the
new season
comes out
of the new MST3K this year.
Yeah, the Gauntlet.
All right,
6 episodes back to back.
Okay, and this one's on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
so,
just like the last season.
Hey, you can start and stop whenever you want to.
Yeah, it's six movies.
Yeah,
Mac and Me. Yeah. It's one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Atlantic Rim.
Kayla. Oh wow. They're getting into the asylum, huh?
Yeah. A Tour of the Fighting Eagle.
Okay.
Wow. The End of Time.
I forgot that you're the biggest MST3K fan that I know.
Yeah, I'm a huge nerd. Well, I went to their live show. It was pretty cool.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody back to the Rage Select Podcast. We'll make sure to get that out of the way, just in case people don't know where they are.
Yeah, I'm John.
Yes,
that's Jeff.
I'm Jeff. Okay, so I'm just going to caveat a little bit here right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Normally we record the podcast on Thursdays.
Yeah.
We're recording it on Wednesday this week.
Of course.
Because we want to fucking spend Thanksgiving doing whatever the hell we want to. MST3K, I don't know, Red Dead Redemption,
Cereal.
Cook a turkey.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing on Thanksgiving, but I don't want to do work.
I don't want to do this.
Yes. So no matter what I do, I don't want it to be this. So we're recording a little bit early. And what that means is that we've got a fair amount of podcasts this week, but I got a feeling that we might zip through some of this stuff because it's not exactly eventful right now.
Yeah. There's just a lot of the big news is going around are all the Black Friday deals going around, which that's not something that we report on.
Hey guys, want to know what to buy? I don't know.
You've already bought it by the time this podcast comes out.
Exactly. Well, no, it's Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday. But
hey, quick
Small
plug.
Business Saturday.
Just FYI, if tomorrow you're going to be buying a bunch of stuff on Amazon, we got some Amazon links. I normally don't pimp it out this hard, but this is the one day a year when people buy a bunch of shit on Amazon, and so if you could use the links that are on the website, hey, I'd appreciate it. I think John would appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
I can't be. John's like, yeah, you do you, man.
Yeah. If you're gonna, why not?
Yeah. So
don't be like me. Don't be like me that looks at those links and then goes to Amazon directly and just buys stuff.
Also, Steam, Steam is the sale page is on.
Okay.
So it's hard to find any new games, right?
Oh, okay.
Because
it's
choked with deals. Speaking of being choked with deals, over the last week I haven't really done much worth noting. I haven't watched anything or played anything. I started playing Diablo on the Switch.
Nice.
It's Diablo. I started watching House again, which it's House. There's not really anything new to say about these particular things.
I got stuff. I got all sorts.
You tell me. Tell me that stuff.
Like I said a few weeks ago, one of the reasons I wasn't on one of the live streams that you've been doing lately is because I was out seeing MST3K live.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Okay.
It was Joel Hodgson, Jonah Ray, Crow T Robot, Tom Servo live in a theater.
So it was the new MST3K lineup plus Joel.
Plus Joel, yes.
Okay.
Riffin' movies. It was fun. Went to both shows. Bought some posters.
Which movies?
The Brain.
Okay.
And then Deathstalker 2.
Okay. It's the Brain. It's like a giant brain that chases people. It's it's late 70s, 80s horror movie or something like that.
It's an 80s horror movie, and it's set during Christmas, which is really weird.
Okay.
But yeah, it's got this giant brain that's this guy is sending out the brain can send signals through video.
Okay.
Or through recording devices or whatever, and they're sending the signal out through this TV show and trying to take control over people's minds.
So kind of like Halloween.
Kind of
Halloween
using
3.
this giant weird brain thing.
Okay.
But the problem is that there's a small percentage of people that it drives insane and causes them to have hallucinations and stuff like that. Then one of the characters starts having hallucinations and has to, it's also deals with teenage delinquency and
yes. Oh, the 80s, when we were really afraid of teenagers.
But, the teenagers were the heroes.
Right.
And the people trying to address teenage delinquency were abusing that authority of being adults.
Right.
And to do this whole thing, and the teenagers were the only ones who figured out what was going on. And it's got some really good riffs. That one was weird because they had for the first movie that they did, they had this kind of thing where they tried to treat it like a game show.
Okay.
Like it was a competition between Joel and Jonah to rack up points based on riffs that they were doing.
Okay.
Like they had like themes kind of thing, like themes, and then eventually they like picked someone in the crowd to represent each team, and then the team that won, that person got to do a couple of riffs with them behind the screen, up, silhouetted.
Oh, nice.
The person for our theater that we went to was not great because they were very shy, didn't really want, it took a lot for, they were struggling to get that person to.
You were like, hey man, I'm like a professional. You should choose me.
But it was literally 2 lines and then they were gone.
Okay.
So literally it wasn't very long, but it was cool that they got to do that. They did that for a fan.
Right on.
And then the second one was done more like a traditional episode.
Okay.
Except they did a thing where they would instead of they would disappear from the silhouettes and then they'd appear in front of a green screen, but it had a scene from the movie behind it, they were in the movie at the time of of that scene. So that was kind of funny as well. But it was good. If they ever do more of these live shows, I definitely recommend everyone go to them.
Okay.
But other than that,
sounds like a fun time.
Got into a new anime called Skullface Bookseller Honda-san.
I saw that on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. The episode's 11 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's literally just slice of life, straight up guy works at a bookstore selling books. The store that he works at focuses mostly on manga and comic, American, and he happens to be the manager of the American comics and larger art books department, essentially.
Okay.
But there's nothing weird about it other than the guy who does.
There's no goblin rape. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there's no goblin rape.
Not even a little bit.
No, not even a little bit. God. But the guy he likes for the manga. He even stated when he created the manga, he wanted to do this little slice of life, but because he didn't want to draw the people's likenesses, and also he wanted to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
All the characters are weird. He is a skeleton.
Right.
The main character's full on skeleton. Even there'll be times where his jawbone will fall off and he'll actually have to pick it up and stuff like that. It actually even keeps the there's another I think the owner or the manager of the store is a knight, has a knight helmet on, and another person has a gas mask on their face, and everyone has these crazy masks that they're wearing.
Okay.
And then But it's nothing out of the ordinary.
But it's just a drama about working at a
It's
store.
just a little cute little slice of life. There's humor to it. There's it's actually a lot of fun. If you've ever worked in retail,
yeah,
especially in a bookstore, this will hit right at home with you, because I saw this, I was I bet Amanda would love this. Played it, and it's Amanda's new favorite thing.
Okay.
She's like, is there a new episode out? Is there a new episode out? Because I need to watch it, John. Is there a new episode out? It's all I want to watch right now. I'm
no, it's only once a week.
Yeah. I had to break that to her the other day.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me. While you were talking, I did watch something last week.
What?
I talked to you about it actually already. At the annual Grant Thanksgiving thing. I watched a Cam on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of a weird movie about a cam girl, and then
sure, it was a movie, and you weren't just watching a cam girl.
I'm pretty sure if it was, they did a lot of
sick bastard,
a lot of cuts away.
Perverts.
What?
Watching cam girls.
What? No.
Deviant.
I would never pay to watch somebody do sex things. There's so many free ways to watch people do sex things. Also, I own 100 nasty anime girl video games that I could be playing. I've already paid.
So you own nasty video game girl games and play them constantly. I see it now. You sick pervert.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. Keep going.
It's all right.
Cam.
It's all right. No, I mean, let's see. I will describe it to you and the audience the way it was described to me. Is that it starts out with it's a girl. She's on one of these cam shows, and she's thanks guys, and everybody's doing their little things, and then she's like, which one of these sex toys do you guys want me to play with? Tip this much for this one, tip this much for this one, and then this weird this new chat thing happens, and it's use a knife. and she's like, haha, ban. And then it's like that person comes back into the chat room like, don't think you can get rid of me, like use a knife, and starts like hugely tipping until she finally pulls out a knife and she's like, is this what you want to see? And like slits her throat on camera. And that's like the first 10 minutes. And then like it's a slow movie, but it's 90 minutes long. It's on Netflix. If you got Netflix, you already like. It's not. I'm not going to say if you don't already have Netflix, it's not worth buying Netflix to get this movie.
Okay.
But if you already have Netflix and you got 90 minutes and you want to watch this kind of like a fucked up weird, I mean, like it's kind of a horror movie. It's kind of a.
The way you described it to me, it sounds like a psychological thriller.
It's got some weird elements to it that might be considered supernatural, but it's not like at the end of the movie there's like a monster chasing this girl around. So I don't know. I think it's worth watching. Like I said, the fact that it's 90 minutes is great. If it was 2 hours, I would be like, it's too slow. But the fact that it's 90 minutes means that, you know, if it does get boring, you only have to put up with it for about 5 minutes before you're on to the next thing. So.
Okay.
Also, it's interesting because I feel like we don't have a lot of horror / thriller whatever movies. Like, I haven't seen a movie about cam girls before.
Okay.
Like, so it's also interesting subject matter. Bada bing. I'll tell you what's not interesting subject matter. That's a man that swims under the ocean with a trident. No, I'm just kidding. We had a trailer for Aquaman. This one seems like the exact polar opposite of the last Aquaman trailer that we saw.
Well, this one actually tells you what the story is.
Right. The last one was just like, haha, look, it's not a dark DC movie. It's like light DC movie.
And this is like, okay, and here's what's going on between the jokes.
Yeah, this one was just like, I feel like they just got the most dramatic piece of music that they could, and then just like it just goes all trailer, just blah blah.
You know, I'm actually kind of interested. Like I'll be honest. Like everything I'm seeing, kind of, you know, it's very clear they're doing like they're definitely pulling from a couple of different places as far as the origin of Aquaman. But it also looks like they're also doing a little bit of a rewrite on some of it.
Yeah. See, I guess I'm just not the biggest fan of Aquaman in the world.
I know a lot about Aquaman.
Yeah,
I've researched a lot about Aquaman.
I will say that James Wan as a director, like seems like the right choice. Like instead of somebody who could just like I think of James Wan as kind of like the Brian Michael Bendis of movies. Like dude can crank out a movie. It's never like the best movie I've ever seen, but it's never like I never feel like I wasted my time when I've seen his movies. So
and this looks fun. Like there are elements of adventure. There's action from what I'm seeing. There's superhero fare. There's a lot
of cheesy one-liners.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm down. Like I'm down for, Here's the thing. I still haven't seen Justice League.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have not watched it.
Okay.
None of the trailers ever made me want to watch it.
Yeah.
This, I'm kind of like, I could watch that.
Yeah.
I could, I'll even admit, I haven't seen Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And while that one also had the same of, I kind of want to watch that, this one still feels a little more, I don't know, kind of.
Since they finally just made a movie that you want to watch.
Yeah.
Right. I can see that. I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested in checking it out. Like, I don't think at this point that DC fucked me once and they fucked me twice. I'm not going back to the theater until I see a DC movie worth watching in the theater. Like, I waited until Justice League came out on home video. I wasn't going to spend time and go to the theater to watch Justice League.
I still haven't watched it as of yet.
I don't think I would go to the theater to watch this, but I think I would check it out if it was a rental.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah,
Amazon
I would. If I ever got the inclination, it's kind of where I am with Wonder Woman. If I may not go see it in theaters, but if someone said, "Hey, you want to watch Aquaman?"
Right,
be like, "Yeah."
Isn't Wonder Woman on Netflix right now?
Probably. I don't know.
There's just too many goddamn things.
Yeah.
And here's another goddamn thing: is hey, did you like Deadpool 2? But do you wish that it was appropriate for younger children or for teenagers? Well, Once Upon a Deadpool is apparently a limited engagement kind of remix of Deadpool 2 as a PG-13 movie.
Yes.
With Fred I don't know if this framing device in this trailer of
it is in the movie.
Princess Bride of Deadpool reading to an adult Fred Savage from
they refilmed at least 15 minutes or more of this footage.
Okay.
For this re-release.
Okay. Well, as I said, I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and give Deadpool 2 a second chance. Everybody seemed to really like it.
I never saw Deadpool 2.
But I do find it interesting, the idea of taking an R-rated movie and just releasing like not that movie, but actually doing work to make like a different version of the movie, like a PG-13 movie. It's really strange to me.
It is, and also one of the other things that I like about it is that $1 of every ticket goes towards the Fuck Cancer charity. So when you go see this movie and pay to go see the Deadpool Once Upon a Deadpool, you will also be donating to a charity.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's great.
For cancer,
and it's got a real limited like holiday engagement.
Yeah. It's specifically Chris. Like apparently the story behind it is that Fox really wanted to release a PG-13 version of Deadpool.
Sure, they did.
And Ryan Reynolds said, "Go fuck yourself."
Right.
Like apparently Ryan Reynolds actually has like his contract says that he has to okay it.
Yeah.
And he basically said, "Go fuck yourself." And then they basically said, "No, we really want to release we think this movie will do even like double what it's already done, which it's already done fucking amazing.
Right.
If we get a PG-13 version and we want to do this as a limited thing." And he finally came back and goes, "Okay, here's my conditions. You have to all tickets, a percentage of all tickets has to go towards a charity of my choosing, and you have to let me film extra stuff to make
add
it work,
in.
to add in,
Okay,
to make it worth for people that have seen our version to go see it."
Okay,
and the studio kind of went, "Oh, okay," and so he went, "Okay," and then basically,
well, because I mean, what 14-year-old doesn't want to see Deadpool 2, right? Like, of course they want it to be PG-13. Of course they want a PG-13 version. Like, it's just, you know, it's that thing with like if you made Deadpool PG-13 after the first one, then those of us that really like the first one will probably just be like, no. Like, I want the really filthy, really violent Deadpool. All right, well, with that out of the way, let's jump into the actual video game stories this week. And the first big one that at least stood out to me was that Microsoft may be making a new version of the Xbox One with no optical drive.
Yes. That's the rumor.
Yeah, a potential digital-only Xbox One coming in 2019. One of the rumors is that this might be as low in cost as $200.
Or $200 less.
Or $200. Well, is the Xbox One is $350 or $4?
Yeah. So
there's the Slim is like
the Xbox One S, if I'm not mistaken, is like $200.
Is it? So this one's free. No.
I think the rumor is it's going to be about 100, 150.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 200. I don't know.
It's an interesting interesting move. I mean, like, this isn't going to be like the next generation of Xbox.
No. So the rumor is that this is, because I've actually read up on this. So the big rumor is that it's going to be a new SKU that's added, which is to get a discless console, and it's going to be a third. Basically, it's going to be they'll have three consoles on the market: Xbox One without the disc drive, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X.
Yeah.
So it'll be those three.
So just a brief sidebar here. Could they choose different letters than S and X? And like, I feel like this is just a Christmas like nightmare waiting to happen, where it's like, I want the Xbox One X. It's like, oh, I got you the One S. It's like, no, that wasn't the one.
X's and S's sound very similar.
They do kind of sound similar.
But yeah, so there's that part of the rumor.
Yeah.
And that also the other part of it is that apparently Microsoft is going to be offering trade-ins.
Okay.
For physical discs. Like,
yes.
So if you convert to this and then you want to be able to play your games that you've already bought physically, you can take it to a Microsoft store or a participating retail store.
Probably GameSpot. GameStop will do it.
Trade in your physical copies for a digital code of that game.
Right.
That's part of the rumor.
Yeah.
None of this is confirmed. The other part of the rumor is that this is to prepare people for the next generation,
which is going to be totally discless.
Well, so everything I've read says that the rumor is that the next generation will launch with two different types: one that is completely discless and one that is more expensive that has a disk drive.
Oh, okay.
But some of the theories that have been popping up is that if this does really well and people take to this Xbox One version without the disc drive, they may just drop the disc drive version of the next and go pure discless.
It is really interesting to consider, though, considering that one of the big things that the Xbox ecosystem has over PlayStation right now is backwards compatibility.
Yes, you're right.
And without a disc drive, it's like, well, are you going to let me bring 360 discs in to get like 360 codes?
Maybe.
Like, can I bring in because
I mean, you can still buy the digital 360 games that are backwards compatible.
That's true.
Because I own quite a few that I repurchased Red Dead Redemption on my Xbox One.
You can play along with Jason and I when we were playing.
No, I just rebought it because I didn't want to put my 360 disc in my Xbox One. I just wanted to be able to play it. I also rebought Ghostbusters and.
It is a great way to play the last generation of games if it's on the backwards compatibility list. Looks a little bit sharper, a little bit better. It's a little bit simpler. It is. I was thinking about though that the last time around when Microsoft was trying to do that whole sea change with the always online DRM thing in the Xbox One during the launch, and they had such a backlash against it. I feel like the idea of having a SKU that has a disk drive that's just more expensive than a SKU that doesn't have a disk drive, so that hey, maybe you're a teenager and you don't have a lot of money and you want to buy you want an Xbox One, or you want to play modern video games, but you want the cheapest possible way to do that.
Yeah.
That if you offer them, you say, hey, look, we're going to lower the price in order for you to give up your disk drive. The only thing is that I wish that they would then lower the price of digital-only games. I think that if they really want to make that change, that
unfortunately the way the market is with anything that's gone digital, with the exception of, strangely enough, music, even if you look at if you go from physical books to digital books, they're kind of around the same price.
Ish, a little bit.
I know for comic books, they are exactly the same price. There is no difference in price between physical or digital, which is bullshit. And the same thing with the games themselves. I mean, they're not gonna. People have already said that they'll, have already shown that they will buy digital games at the full retail price of a physical disc.
Yeah.
So why would they change that?
Actually, to be honest, I don't even mind. I don't even mind if it's only if the entire video game industry went to full digital. Because guess what? I don't own physical copies of any of the games that are on my PC. Right?
Yeah.
I've been doing Steam for years on my PC. I haven't bought a physical PC game. I mean, the last physical PC game I bought was No One Lives Forever 2, just in case I ever wanted to do it for sequential, because I wanted to literally have the disc to show, hey, I illegally own this. But I really wish that they would come up with a better way to let you essentially loan your digital copy to somebody else, because I have so many friends that have PlayStations and Xboxes and whatnot, and I buy so many games for Rage Select that I love being able to let people borrow a game if they want to play it. To say, hey, Amanda and I are going to play Let's Go Pikachu, and I can just be like, hey, Amanda, you would enjoy this far more than I do. Why don't you take this?
Didn't Microsoft kind of try to institute something like that?
I don't know. I mean, Sony had a thing where it's you could play on somebody else's. You could literally log into somebody else's account. You could give. Because there was a whole game share
maybe
thing.
Maybe it was Sony.
But the problem with that is that there would be no way for me to I just bought Beat Saber. There'd be no way for me to be John, I want to loan you Beat Saber, and I want it to be unavailable on my console and available on your console until you essentially virtually give it back. Now, I understand that causes just shitloads of problems, right?
Yeah.
What if I loan it to you and you don't want to give it back to me, and I have to call support or blah 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 blah, and it probably depresses sales, right? Because if I bought Beat Saber and I said, hey, Beat Saber's fucking awesome, if I could just let you borrow it because I'm not playing it, that's a sale that they wouldn't make from me hyping it up to you. But I do think it's one of the reasons, because I mean, so much of the time these days, I know that a lot of people that are big fans of physical media still kind of maintain this idea of archival, and I want to have it on the disc. I want to be able to loan it to my friends. I want to have to be the game itself to be portable, be able to take it other places. But so often these days, or having it for archival purposes, but so often these days, if the servers shut down, if the server support for say Spyro, the Spyro trilogy that I got shuts down, that disc only has the first Spyro game on it. The other two are downloads, right? If the servers shut down and I have the disc for No Man's Sky, it doesn't do me any good. No Man's Sky's had like shitloads of updates since it first came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, there's some other things that I look at when I. So this is kind of something I harp on, and I feel like there are people that when I say it, look at me and go, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Okay. You don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
The United States does not have a good internet infrastructure.
Right.
There are places that are still on fucking dial-up.
Yep.
And cannot download games. They can't even fucking run an update for a game that requires a D1 update for a disc.
Yep.
There are tons of people that deal with this issue in the United States. That 100% is the reason why the industry will have trouble going full digital here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people that they will cut off their product from. And I'm talking hundreds of thousands, if not more. And there are people that say, John, this is 2018. The internet, we have fiber internet in the United States. We have fiber internet in maybe like 12 cities.
Oh, we have fiber internet in Austin, South Austin.
Yeah.
Not where you and I are recording right now,
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, in 12 cities across the United States, we have fiber internet.
Sure.
In 12 fucking cities. We do not have the internet infrastructure that will support a all digital console.
So I think that the flip side of that is that companies like Microsoft are willing to eat it in those markets. That like the population density of people that they want to sell their console to are going to be in places that have internet. I think that Microsoft is probably willing to lose those customers in order to be able to have the DRM lock and
here's the problem.
Not let you.
That's why the Xbox One lost, because those same people never learned that Microsoft rolled back those policies with the Xbox One and went, well, I guess I'm not buying an Xbox One. I'm going to go buy a PS4 because they allow me to buy discs, and I still talk to people to this fucking day that swear that if you buy a game for the Xbox One, you can't loan it to anyone because it's region locked, it's DRM to the console. Because that's what they heard when the console first came out. Mm-hmm. They're in a rural area where they can't stay connected to the internet 100% of the time.
Sure enough.
So they are ignoring it.
Yep. But there is a second narrative that, as much as I do think that the always on DRM bullshit hurt Microsoft, I think Microsoft came into this tone deaf. But I think that's the second thing was that, if I'm not mistaken, the Xbox One was $100 more than the PlayStation 4 on launch because they had the Kinect in it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Xbox One was $500, PS4 was $400.
Yeah.
And I think
there were a lot of things that were wrong with the Xbox One when it first launched.
Yeah.
It wasn't just this, but this was the thing that everyone was talking about.
Like I think that if the Xbox One had said, yes, you do have to be online all the time, but our console is going to play all those games that you just saw at Sony's conference, and it's going to cost $300 instead of $400, that we would have a much different. I think it would have been different if they said, yes, you have to be online, but it's cheaper. Like because I think that the first thing that Microsoft did to get competitive was cut that Kinect out and start dropping the price on their console. Yeah. So I think there would have been a slightly different narrative if Microsoft acted like an asshole, like they do, like everybody does. Yeah. I mean, Nintendo does, Sony does, everybody does. Right? I do. If the console was $100 less than the PS4, because man, nothing gets people more excited than if Sony had their conference and Microsoft had been able to come out and said, oh, and also by the way, just FYI, our console's $300. But like, I think that it was a bunch of different things, and I think the DRM definitely didn't help them. The fact the console was more expensive, the fact that they went in hard on Kinect, the fact that they went in super hard with all that TV bullshit, that DVR bullshit. That one disastrous E3 where it was just like sports and television and very little in the way of games. But I don't know. It'll be interesting if this is that actual thing.
No, and here's the thing. Like, here's what I will say. For me as a person, as a gamer or whatever, I'm not affected by that. I have good internet. I have, I do buy a lot of my games digitally. I also buy physically as well. But it just depends on the game. So it does not affect me. But it just always surprises me how much people dismiss the fact that we have shit internet infrastructure here in the United States that cannot support a digital or that does not support a streaming. You know, people look at, well, Netflix is great for streaming. It's doing gangbusters. Yes, but not in certain areas. Yeah. And you could argue, yeah, that maybe that's an acceptable loss on Microsoft's side. But again, that's where someone like Sony, who may not be doing a digital only, can swoop in and get those sales over Microsoft.
Sure.
And same for Nintendo and whatnot. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. I'm just saying I still say to this day we are at least 2 console generations away, meaning next console and then the console, maybe the console after the next generation.
For always on
internet streaming, digital only, whatever console that may be. We are still 2 before that. Now, if this turns out that they release this, it does well, and then they release 2 SKUs, like here's the disc-based version, but here's the much cheaper without a disc drive version, I'm cool with that. Because then the people who want the cheaper discless one, they can get that. The people who do need that disc drive because they can't afford to, because they don't have the internet to allow them to download digital and they can't really afford to do anything other than put the disc in the drive.
Right.
Then that's there for them as well. I feel like people seem to think like there are places in the world, like in Europe and in especially in fucking Japan, that do have that infrastructure in place and have had that infrastructure in place for a long time. But I feel like a lot of people just overlook that for the U.S. and think that we also have a really great internet infrastructure, which ours is laughable.
Oh yeah,
laughable.
You're gonna hear me argue with you.
I mean, it's just talking to there was an interview with Reggie, and I hope I'm not jumping some type of news article thing that you have later, where they talked about the fact that on the Switch, the Assassin's Creed Odyssey being streaming, which is also on like Google's thing or whatever. You can buy the game and it'll stream it over the internet. They asked, well, you're doing that in Japan,
for RE7, I believe,
for that and for Assassin's Creed Origins and RE7. Do you think you're ever going to release that here in the States? And he goes, no.
Yeah.
No, even the best internet is not as good as the worst internet in Japan.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, you know what? Like, the thing is that I'm not arguing with you. All I'm saying is that I think that from what I've seen over the years, that Microsoft and other companies have such a boner for converting over to full digital so that you can't sell your games, you can't loan your games out, that like they'll do it by just slashing the price on the initial console.
Yeah, and I understand. It's going there. It's gonna go there. Like there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Like there is going to be a point where everything is 100% digital as far as these games go.
Yeah.
And there will be no physical release. And that's just, like I said, I just feel like some people... I just hope that it's not hey, this is doing really well. Well, let's not for the next Xbox, whatever it is.
Right.
Let's just not do a disc based. Let's do disc.
The Xbox 2.
Let's just do Xbox Infinity.
Right.
Because that would be the next stupid thing that they would do.
Sure.
Xbox Infinity.
Yeah. No. The next stupid thing would be the Xbox. The next one is called the Xbox.
Yeah. Because you have Xbox.
Right. Xbox 360.
Xbox One.
The Xbox.
The Xbox. And then at some point, Xbox Infinity.
Right.
That way you have this weird numbering and everyone's like, what the fuck? But yeah, if they decide to go, let's go 100% discless and 100% digital with the next one, I think that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Hey
man, we look.
And that's
again, I don't want to seem like I'm fighting with you, but like again, Microsoft has shown that this console generation, they ain't afraid to make some fucking big ass mistakes, right? Like from the beginning, the Xbox One has kind of been a debacle, and I'm not saying Xbox One fans that it doesn't play AAA games. It totally does. Xbox One X is arguably better than PS4, but
on the very least, you could say that Microsoft is at least going out of their way to make sure that they're going to have some first-party exclusive for their next generation console.
I sure fucking hope so.
Considering how many fucking studios they've been buying up as of late.
Yeah, last week Obsidian and Exile. Yeah. And it's just like, you guys, okay, well, E3 2019. Look, here, hold on. Brief aside, back to the John and Jeff talk shit about Microsoft hour. Well, not really. It's not, I don't I don't hate Microsoft. I feel sorry for them. But like, okay, next year.
I love Microsoft. I loved my 360. I wish the Xbox One was doing better.
Next year at E3, right? They'll have 5 studios making like new games for them, and Sony ain't going. All right, Microsoft, this is it. This is your year.
Well, the problem is that they've actually said that almost all of those studios are working on next-gen games.
Oh, Jesus.
They're not working for games for this console generation.
So, I mean,
which is why I think they probably will announce
something at the next E3
that'll be released at the end of 2020.
Yeah. I don't know. Is the Xbox One going to go down as like Microsoft's Wii U? Is that what's going to end up happening?
As the PS3.
Oh, I don't know. The PS3 got on its feet eventually. I mean, it had like a bunch of first-party exclusives, things like Uncharted.
But it'll be the thing where Sony kind of took they had this gangbuster PS2, and then they kind of had they got humbled.
Yep.
And they kind of went, all right, we fucked up. Next console, let's do it right. And then this is kind of the same thing. Xbox 360 did gangbusters. Xbox One, they got humbled.
Yep.
And they are working their way to fix it. Unfortunately, maybe not 100%, but.
Well, speaking of things that need to get fixed, we got some news about the roadmap for Fallout 76.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they going to put a game in there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're putting in some, let's see. November 19 patch will focus on this from Game Informer article. November 19 patch will focus on game performance and stability across every platform, but we'll also fix some quests, UI elements, and more. It's going to be a big download, but apparently after this one, subsequent downloads will be smaller. They're also talking about how they basically in the future want to add push to talk, ultra-wide monitor support, an FOV slider, because PC players were real pissed off there wasn't an FOV slider.
Of course.
And then, in 2019, they're going to put in new content, new in-game systems, etc., new vaults, new ways to improve your camps, new multiplayer features, and more free add-ons. So, yeah. Also, sales are down 82% from Fallout 4 in the UK, which is one of the things that have been going around this week. You know what? I stand by my assertion that like this is like we all look at this as like, oh, it's not going to sell as well as Fallout, but like if it sells well enough and then they add the microtransactions, are there already microtransactions in that game?
Oh, I have no idea.
There's a store prompt on the opening. I didn't even look into the store, but
the only time I've ever seen the game was when you're playing it.
Okay. I have a feeling, I mean, like, if there aren't microtransactions, there will be eventually, right? I mean, like, nobody's going to sit here and tell me that Fallout 76 is not going to have, like, cosmetic. They fucking made paid mods in Skyrim a thing, right? Like, they're going to have microtransactions in there somewhere.
Maybe.
And I get the feeling that it's going to be like Elder Scrolls Online, where there's going to be enough people shoving money into it every month to make it a thing, and then it'll just keep going. So I don't think it's going away. I think it's just going to be, when you're watching the Bethesda E3 press conference and they start talking about Elder Scrolls Online and you're just like,
it's going to be that.
I'm going to go pee. Yeah, Todd Howard's going to come out and be like, all right, let's talk about all the brand new updates coming for Fallout 76. Everybody's like, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some wings.
So do you think Fallout 76 is going to be a No Man's Sky situation, or do you think they're going to be like, no, we're going to nickel and dime you for everything. Every update's going to be paid. And
okay, the latter. But the main difference, because I was thinking about that earlier today, the main difference between Fallout 76 and No Man's Sky is the lie, the No Man's lie. The game that they were pretending that the launch of No Man's Sky was going to be was a game that I would play, whereas the information that after the trailer in Fallout 76 at E3, they start talking about what Fallout 76 is, every word that came out of their mouth, it was just like, well, I don't want to play that.
And also kind of is what the game is.
Like, I don't want to play that. Yeah. So it's like in No Man's Sky, it's almost like they were forced to release their beta as a full product. And in Fallout 76, they released exactly what the fuck they wanted to. And it's just, I mean, somebody wrote in, we'll talk about it later, but it's just Rust, right? Yeah. Like, it's not multiplayer Fallout. It's a different type of game. It's Rust. Like, so... And I don't want to play Rust, so I don't want to play Fallout 76. Okay. And, like, you could put as much Fallout paint on a tower defense game as you want, but I'm not a big fan of tower defense games, so...
Okay.
Anyway. I'll tell you who else isn't a real big fan of stuff is this guy in a GameStop that. Did you see this?
No.
So some guy came back into a GameStop and he tried to return Fallout 76, and they basically said, we'll give you store credit, but we won't give you your money back. At which point, this dude just like started tearing this GameStop apart, or not tearing it apart, but just started
shit!
Knocking over.
Jeff is showing me,
yeah, like just knocking over the used games bins and like fucking tipping over things and pour Snorlax down on the ground.
God damn! Jeff's showing me the video.
Yeah, it's pretty. This guy he wasn't having a good day. So, like. Hey, there's no good return policy for console games at retail stores.
Yeah, no, there's never been.
And like, okay, this is kind of funny because like, oh man, that guy was mad at a thing that we're all mad about right now.
Yeah.
On the other hand, those employees didn't have any choice in what they could offer him.
Yeah.
They could not give him his money back. And guess what? They've got to clean up all your bullshit, and you didn't do anything. Like, you didn't hurt GameStop. You just made some work for the fucking people that work there, bro. So like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, go outside in the parking lot and yell, fuck you at the store. But, like, don't trash the store. Like, somebody's got to clean all that shit up.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who are in a big rage. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I should have announced this earlier. We are in the rage block. Like, there was like 5 stories this week of people that are all pissed off about stuff. So, this is the Rage Select rage block. It would be better if I had like a Wacky Morning DJ sound effect. I'll tell you who else is mad, John. That's Cliffy B.
Oh, shit.
Yep, Cliffy B. So somebody on Twitter added Cliffy B. That would be a
dude huge.
I almost feel like he would make that his screen name at some point. Cliffy B. And basically asked for his money back for Lawbreakers. Now that the servers have been shut down, and Cliffy B. like replied to the guy saying, I paid my employees their 401ks, their health care, even months after the studio folded so they could care for their families. I didn't take a salary myself for 2 years. I get that you're sad, but God, this kind of shit is another reason I am never making another game. Y'all heard it here. Cliff Blazensky never making another video game.
Well, he actually said that a long time ago.
Never making another. No, but this time he means it because it's on Twitter. He's never making another.
Well, no, he said after when his studio shut down, he was done. He's retired. He's not making anything.
I know this is all sarcasm.
Oh,
like
okay.
Of course he's going to make another video game at some point.
Not necessarily. He could totally be serious.
I don't know. Once somebody says they're not going to do a thing, and then they do a thing, and then they say they're not going to do that same thing again, I'm just like, okay, all right, we'll see.
Right.
We'll see. I mean, Cliff Blazensky doesn't have to make any more video games, right? Like, dude's got money and he's fine, but I kind of wish. I feel like Cliffy B has been God of War, right? And then everybody. No, that's War. Jaffe. Yeah,
you're thinking of Gears of War.
No, I'm thinking of Jaffe with that. Gears of War. Yeah, so I'm thinking of the wrong thing because then like David Jaffe after God of War made like Calling All Cars for the PS3, which was really weird. But yeah, Gears of War. And then in between that and Lawbreakers, did he do anything else?
I think he worked on some of the Unreal stuff, but I don't think he actually did anything else.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think we've lost like one of gaming's greatest luminaries, have we? Like,
you know what?
It'd be nice if the guy
he's a good
tried.
Personality.
Yeah.
Like he's a decent personality as far as like.
I mean, he made a lot of games. Shadow Complex?
Oh yeah. He was behind Shadow Complex.
Bulletstorm?
Yeah, he worked a little bit on Bulletstorm.
Gears.
I think he was just
co-designer of the arena stage on Superhot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it looks like going all the way back to Jazz Jackrabbit and the original Unreal.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean here's the thing. He's one of those personalities in the video game industry that I actually enjoyed seeing come out because he always seemed like he never felt, for as stupid as sometimes he was, he never felt disingenuous. If I guess that may not be the right word. Right. But he actually felt like he believed all the hype he was selling.
Yeah, I can see that.
So because there are some guys who go out there and sell the hype, but you can kind of see it in the back of their mind. They're like, I am so full of shit.
Well, I feel like you kind of see that with Radical Heights.
Yeah, no, Radical Heights was kind of where
we need money.
yeah, but for the most part, he always seemed like he also is like a guy. It's like I love video games. I got to make them. This is fucking great. This is the game I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna try to make it this most badass thing. And that's what he wanted to do. And unfortunately, in the case of Lawbreakers, he didn't make it as badass as he totally wanted to make it.
Yeah.
He tried.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
That's all. And in the video game industry, in my mind, that's all we ask.
He also was working on Lawbreakers for a while, and then like Overwatch kind of like I feel like kind of just cut the legs right out from underneath that. Like if we lived in a world that didn't have Overwatch, I feel like Lawbreakers probably wouldn't have succeeded, but probably would have had more of a chance.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Overwatch I feel like people really underestimate what Overwatch has done to the kind of multiplayer competitive.
Yeah. And he even admitted that a little bit. Not so much that Overwatch cut the legs underneath him, but that, he was like, Overwatch is a fucking great game. And
yeah. And my wife gets play of the game as Mercy.
Yeah, everyone remembers that.
Let's see. Next up on the Rage Parade, so the Spyro Reignited trilogy came out last week. I really enjoyed it. One of the things that I feel like a whole bunch of other people have been curious about is why no subtitles. So in the third game, right, there's subtitles, definitely when Michael and I were playing it. But in the first game, you rescue the dragons, and the dragons will all tell you, like, hey, Spyro, there's a secret behind that waterfall. Or, Spyro, do you know how to double jump? And, like, they'll give you instructions, but none of them have any subtitles, right? There's, like, a move list, but if you're hearing impaired, you can't really get any of these things out of it. And it seemed kind of weird. Just kind of like why aren't there subtitles in this game? Like, just a strange
omission.
Thank you. So last week, the company Toys for Bob that did the thing talked about it. They put out this really weird quote where they said, the team remained committed to keeping the integrity and legacy of the Spyro that fans remembered intact. The game was built from the ground up using a new engine for the team, was localized in languages that had not been previously attempted by the studio. While there's no industry standard for subtitles, the studio and Activision care about fans' experience, especially with respect to accessibility for people with different abilities, and will evaluate going forward. Which, I mean, it seems to be like their reasoning is, well, we didn't have to put subtitles in, so we didn't put subtitles in.
The original didn't have subtitles in it, so why would we?
I think the original did have subtitles.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was looking for the font that they use in the game, like I kept finding screenshots where it said stuff at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, okay.
But even if the original didn't, it's still like
that's a weird.
It's 2018, man. Put some subtitles in, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and the only reason, like, you guys, I don't spend every week on the podcast like complaining about accessibility options in video games. I'm not just like, why isn't there a colorblind switch for this video game? Like, but for this game, it's such a charming game that I hope that like children could play because it's the perfect game for kids.
Yeah.
And I'd love all kids to be able to play it, right?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. So, now speaking of games that kids should not be playing,
is this also part of the Rage?
Yeah, a little bit. We're let's see, what do we got here? We're kind of getting to the end of it.
Okay. So more Rage.
Maybe a little bit. So apparently the Artifact beta launched, Valve's actual card game. Do you remember that thing that they were talking about?
There was that thing that everyone thought was going to be Half-Life 3, and then it turned out to be a card game, and everyone was pissed off.
November 28th, not too long at all, the actual game comes out.
Oh, nice.
But Valve is apparently preemptively like talking or addressing fan problems that have come up in the beta, saying that they're going to be fixing them. So there was a thing about you can't draft. I don't know exactly what that means, but I feel like you can't play with your friends. Like you can't invite a friend to play.
So it's just random plays only,
right?
Random matches only. You can't like specifically say, "Hey, I want to play this specific person."
Yeah. No practice modes.
Oh, that's weird.
Because you have to pay a ticket apparently every time that you play one of these games. And then you like earn the tickets or you get them back or something like that. I don't even know. Because one of the other things they said is that there wasn't anything about if you got like duplicate cards, and they said that they're going to be making it so that duplicate cards can convert into play tickets for you to get more plays. I mean, don't you have to pay in? See, you're giving me a weird look, but in Hearthstone, right? Remember, you actually have to like use the in-game currency to buy into like a ranked game, right? Like,
I think so.
If you're playing a free game and you're not getting any rank or any cards or any of that bullshit, then it's nothing. And you can actually build that currency by playing against like the CPU and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when it comes out. The first new Valve game since Dota 2.
Yeah,
I guess. But, you'll be able to play it on your PC, but you may not be able to play it on your TV much longer because apparently Valve is sunsetting the Steam Link.
Yes, I did see about this.
Do you have one of these?
I do. I also have one of the Steam controllers.
How does the Steam Link work?
So essentially,
is it good? I mean, like how does it work? But like, what is its quality of?
So I actually really liked it, though I never actually used it for playing games on my TV.
Okay.
I used it for accessing my computer from my living room.
Okay.
Like that was literally like I would stream videos from my computer. I would stream like YouTube video, like this is back before like not even YouTube, like stuff from my hard drive. Like I would literally just like play something from my hard drive.
Yeah.
Like a video that I had downloaded, like some fan subbed Sentai show that I had watched.
Okay.
So like that's kind of what I was mostly using it for. I think I got it for like maybe like $10.
Yeah, they were real cheap. They went on sale a lot.
Yeah, they went on sale, and I got it for real cheap. And like I stopped using it though when I got my Amazon Cube.
Okay.
And I've never used it again because it also my computer has issues where for some reason some update either happened with Steam or my computer where anytime I tried to stream video, and it only happened with video. It didn't happen with games or anything else. But anytime I tried to stream video from my hard drive to my TV, it would lock up my computer.
Interesting.
Or
terrible. I mean,
yeah, and because I was predominantly using it for streaming video that was saved to my hard drive,
right.
Stop using it.
Yeah, I could see that. So apparently, I mean, basically the way that this is working out is the stock is getting low and they're not doing a new refresh on stock. So if you still want to try to get one of these things, I mean, I don't know. By the time this comes out, they may already be gone. But
yeah, because I know a lot of people, like apparently, like you can get the Steam Link by itself for like $1.
Yeah.
Like it's like 97% off or something like that, or like 15 cents. Like it's some weirdly super cheap thing. And then if you want to buy it bundled with a controller, it's like $20.
Yeah. So, yeah. Get it while you can. I'll tell you what else you should get while you can. Sean Bean.
What?
Yeah. Hitman 2, Elusive Target #1 is out. We got a mission briefing video for it. I absolutely love this. When they showed the first video of him talking about how he's escaped death so many times, I like the detail in here because this is the briefing from Diana about that ICA specifically has killed Mark Fava, aka Sean Bean, aka the Undying, like a dozen times, and like at the very end, she puts in this little like. So listen, 47, this is really embarrassing. You make sure to fucking kill this guy this time.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder because the briefing really shows you like exactly how to kill this guy. I have to wonder. I haven't done it yet because it's only around for a few days, and you get one shot, and if you don't do it, you're done. Last time I did one of these, it was like one of the most pulse-pounding experiences of my life because it was just nerve-wracking. But they give you such a roadmap on how to do this that I'm wondering whether you have to actually kill him more than once, whether you have to like confirm the kill because like they talk about shooting him with a sniper rifle from this guard tower.
Yeah,
that place is super easy to get into. Like it's one of the first places that I go in the level because it's got the easiest security setup to delete all of your
I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those things where it's gonna you're playing this and then maybe like 3-4 months later
he's back.
It's back.
If he like follows you through the season, like,
or
he keeps
like
coming back,
or he comes back in each of the levels.
Oh yeah. So
it's just kind of an elusive target that pops up for each level or something like that, and you have to kill him multiple times.
I don't know. I'm really in love with this.
Yeah, I like the idea of it.
I like it an awful lot. So if you got Hitman 2, go kill Sean Bean, And you know what? It's actually just like when we're talking about the Xbox, this is actually that kind of thing is a really interesting incentive to be like, hey, you should probably go buy Hitman 2 because this is going to be here for like 12 days and then it goes away. Now, the previous one, I don't know how it's going to work in Hitman 2, but in the previous one, like once they did the Game of the Year edition, it's like you could go back and kill any of the previous elusive targets. So like you could go back and kill Gary Busey once the game of the year or the collector's edition or whatever, once the season was way over, you could go back and do that. So, but I keep meaning to make a video where we kill Gary Busey because I gotta kill Gary Busey.
Gotta kill Uncle Gary.
You don't want Gary Busey on the loose. The Buse is loose, and you don't want that. You don't want that. Let's see. Speaking of trailers, we were talking earlier about No Man's Sky. There's going to be an update that's already out by the time you hear this called Visions. Another No Man's Sky update.
Yeah.
Not adding a lot, but hey, adding something, and it's free.
Yeah, I will say everything that I see in all the trailers now is like, man, this is the game I so wish the original game was when it first came out.
Yep.
Because I do not have the heart to actually to reinstall the game on my console and play it anymore.
Well, you know what? The other problem that I keep having is that, like, I do have the heart to maybe play No Man's Sky, but I want them to be done. Like, I don't want to start it and then it's like, oh, next week the new update was... Because it's like, oh, I played No Man's Sky for 12 hours, and I was like, this game is pretty good, but you know what it could really use is... hang gliding koala bears, and they're like, update 7, hang gliding koala bears, and I'm like, fuck, now I gotta go play the game again. Like, I kind of want them to be done with all their updates before I go back and really play the game. But yeah, this one has some new skybox effects, some new atmospheric effects. There's a lot of rainbows in this trailer. I think that's a thing that's going to be in there. Kind of harsher lighting outside. There's like alien bones, new types of aliens.
Yeah, you can actually be an archaeologist and excavate ancient alien bone, like creature bones or whatever.
Yeah. Fireworks.
Yeah,
it's new kinds of rovers. Yeah. Again, every time it comes up, I'm going to say it. It's fucking No Man's Sky, man. Like, they released a bad game and they've been trying to make it better ever since, and I cannot fault them for doing that.
It's just, for me, it's like there's just been a string of game. Like, there's never been a moment where there's not a game out that I want to play.
Yeah.
So I have no desire to go back to No Man's Sky.
It's totally understandable.
And I kind of hope that at some point there is a lull where I can go, you know what, I don't know what to play. You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to play No Man's Sky.
You know what they need to do is they need to put out a big one of these updates like mid-January when we're all done with Red Dead and we're all done with
You'll never be done with Red Dead.
It says 63% completion. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
But by that point,
yeah,
Red Dead Online will be out.
Fuck yes,
because that's supposed to come out before the end of this month.
I know, motherfucker. Goddamn. Speaking of motherfuckers, Borderlands 2 VR has a trailer. This is just a cute little live action trailer of somebody playing as Maya from the game. It's funny for a game that focuses so much on guns. This is a very punchy, kicky kind of trailer. I don't know. We've already talked about this. I'll be interested to see how Borderlands 2.
I mean, my thing with this
VR
is like
works.
it's not like it's not gameplay footage.
Game.
It's live action. It's show me when you have footage of the game.
I mean, they do.
They have, but
it just looks like Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Except you can hold 2 guns. So, I'll tell you what, you won't be holding a gun in. That's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts.
You'll be holding keys.
Yep. Kingdom Hearts 3 got a trailer called Together or Forever. What is it called? Together trailer. They're just Together. This is the best Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer I've ever seen. Keeps all the Kingdom Hearts bullshit to a minimum, and it's just like, hey, look, Disney, adventure, excitement. Go on a epic journey with your friends. Here's Donald and Goofy.
Here's the characters from Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Here's the characters from Hercules.
Yep.
Here's the characters from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Here's the characters from this. Here's the characters from that. Don't you remember this and how awesome this was? Yeah. From this actual Disney property that we're not actually like referring to dark hooded robed people that speak about things that are just fucking mind-numbingly dull and make no fucking sense unless you've played 12 other fucking games that are all 12 to 60 hours in length.
John, you're mad today. Yes, but I agree. I've just said that so many times that I can't say it again.
That's why I said it very quickly.
Thank you. But yeah, this actually makes me kind of excited for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Like last week we had another trailer.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer's charming.
Yeah, I mean, like this looks like a game that I want to play. Like it's like, oh look, it's Jack Sparrow, it's Toy Story, it's Big Hero 6, Frozen, it's Rapunzel, it's fucking all these things. Monsters Incorporated. Oh look, it's Sully, it's Mike Wazowski. Yay! Like instead of like last week where they did that one of those trailers with no sound effects where they were just playing like a Japanese rock song behind it.
Oh yeah,
and they're just talking and it doesn't make any sense. So yes, this is exciting. I would like to play this video game. Thank you very much. Also, I don't want to play it, but because I have. But we got a trailer for Final Fantasy XIV. What is the subtitle on this thing? Shadowbringers, which was really pretty.
Yeah, it was a pretty trailer.
What I find really interesting.
Square Enix makes some great trailers.
They really do. I would say that, except that like the last half dozen Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers have been kind of bad, in my opinion. But in any case, I really like this trailer because it's basically kind of like showing one character. I like the way that they're showing the same character go through different jobs. And then apparently this upgrade is going to have this thing where, like, okay, I don't know how much you really are.
I know nothing.
Okay. Well, this is just more about Final Fantasy in general. But like this big character with all the spikes and shit on him that he's fighting in this trailer is like literally the Warrior of Light, the avatar from the first Final Fantasy game, right? So Final Fantasy 1, the character from Final Fantasy 1 that is in Dissidia is this character called the Warrior of Light because they were all the Warriors of Light in the first one. This is, I think, like the fighter or whatever. And so it appears that like the Warrior of Light has been corrupted and is destroying everything, and that like the only way for the world to survive is for your character to become a warrior of darkness to fight them, which is kind of an interesting thing. This trailer, somebody last week sent in a question to the podcast, and they said, "What would you like? What would you do to fix Final Fantasy 15, and what would you like to see out of a new Square Enix game?" Like, if this was a new Final Fantasy game, I would totally want to play this game. Like, this looks cool. It was like, yeah, you got the kind of medieval fighting. There's like a bunch of, big gods coming down from the sky. People are hitting stuff. It's like a bunch of different cool looking weapons and monsters and things. Like, I would like to play this if it was a Final Fantasy game that was not Final Fantasy 14. And I even like Final Fantasy 14. I don't hate Final Fantasy 14. So, yeah, this is much more interesting to me than fucking 15. Like,
well, lucky you, 15's done.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We shouldn't be seeing any more of 15.
But I like this trailer a lot. I tell you what, even if you're not into Final Fantasy 14, you should maybe go check out the Shadowbringers trailer. It's an all CGI trailer, so like
there's no gameplay.
There's no gameplay, but it's a really beautiful trailer.
It's a pretty trailer.
All kinds of crazy Final Fantasy looking shit. You like Final Fantasy? Go check that out. You can also check out the trailer for the Blue Mage, which is getting added into Final Fantasy 14. There's also some scuttlebutt that they're going to be adding in the Viera, the bunny people from Ivalice, as one of the playable races in the game.
You mean they weren't already?
No, they were like kind of cat people, but I don't think they had the actual Viera in the game.
Oh.
They've been adding stuff.
Or am I thinking of the previous online? Hasn't there been two different online?
Yep, neither one of them had the bunny people.
Huh.
I think they might have been in the game, but I don't know if they were playable race. I don't really know. I feel like the Final Fantasy 14 has been getting these updates that have been adding in things from different Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And apparently this was announced.
So when's the Noctis update?
Well, Final Fantasy 14 is already crossing over with Final Fantasy 15 when one of the Final Fantasy 14 characters comes to the 15 world, and they have to ask Noctis and his fucking bro pals to go help him hunt a monster. Anyway, the guy that's like the head of Final Fantasy 14, Yoshi P, apparently got up on stage, and the reason people think that the Viera might be in the game is because he was wearing like a Bugs Bunny t-shirt when he announced all this stuff.
So who does he think he is? Phil Spencer?
Yeah.
Or Spencer? Spectre? No, not
Warren Spector.
Warren. No, Phil
Spencer.
Spencer. Okay, yeah, Phil Spencer.
Yeah, Phil Spencer
From Microsoft. Yeah.
So let's see. Maybe you want to play an online game, but you're not into all the swords and sorcery crap. Well, if you got a Switch, you can start playing Warframe. Warframe is on the Switch now. We knew this was going to be happening.
Yeah. A lot of people like Warframe.
Hey, man, I'll tell you, I'm one of them. Like, Warframe's great. If you're looking for a free-to-play game, like if you want to play Destiny, but you don't want to pay for Destiny, play Warframe because it's better than Destiny.
I've heard that,
and
from
it's
more
free.
than just you.
Yeah,
I will say, I something about Warframe's character designs.
Yeah.
That just
rubs you the wrong way.
Off-putting to me.
Mm-hmm. I could see it. The kind of biotechnical. Everything's like the Guyver, but turned up to fucking 40.
Yeah, like it's just weird. Like you'd think I'd like it, but I don't know. Just something about it just weird. And I just never played it, but I've heard it's really good. I heard a lot of people really like it.
It's very fun. I played it for a while on the PS4, and I don't know if they have the current update in the Switch version. But hey, if you got a Switch, see, here's the thing. Like Warframe, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But guess what you don't have to do?
Pay for it,
right? Yeah. You just go fucking play it, and you'll probably know within the first 20 minutes whether you like it or not. So go check it out. You will have to be paying, on the other hand, for Black Mesa, the remake of Half-Life 1, but soon enough, you'll be able to play the final level of Half-Life 1, Zen. So we had a trailer this week for Black Mesa Zen, where they have completely redone the Zen portion at the end of Half-Life.
Yeah, because I mean, the game before this update was just the entire game except for Zen.
Except for Zen, yeah. And they said they really wanted to put some time and effort into it. Apparently, it's going to be like a full campaign size. Like it's not going to be super tiny. So yeah, and we got a trailer for it. Looks pretty good. I haven't actually played Black Mesa. I don't think I played Half-Life since the first time that I played Half-Life.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. So
yeah, but it looks good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe check it out when it comes out. It's coming out, I think, Q2 of next year.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Like some fans actually like made a demo, and then actually before promoting it or doing anything, they went to Valve and said, "Hey, we want to remake Half-Life.
Yeah.
We're going to call it Black Mesa. We're not going to call it Half-Life. We're going to make it very clear that you're not affiliated with us.
Yeah.
Can we put it out on Steam?" And Valve went, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah. Valve seems like they're pretty cool with that stuff.
I think the thing was that it had to be free, so it's.
I think it's like $6.
Oh, I thought it was free.
I think I don't know. It was already in my Steam library. Let me look it up here real fast. Yeah, I haven't actually played it. Oh, it was free when it originally came out. I don't know.
I think it's still free.
Is it still free? Let's just see here. Black Mesa, $7.99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
But still, that's cheap.
That's still super cheap for a video game, and it's super cheap for Half-Life, which is a good video game.
Yeah.
Speaking of games that I don't know whether they're good or not anymore, Assassin's Creed has their new mobile game out, Assassin's Creed Rebellion. We got a launch trailer for that. John, you said you've been waiting for this one?
So they announced this game like 2 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've been waiting for this game to come out so I could play it and see if it's any good. Like, it's kind of like their answer to Fallout Shelter.
Okay.
So it's like you're recreating your own Brotherhood, and you have like special characters, and they're obviously they're original characters in the game, but you have special characters, which are characters from heroes from other Assassin's Creed games.
Right.
And it just seemed like it's really, and I actually heard nothing but good things, like people who were in the beta who said it was a lot of fun. So I'm kind of interested.
Okay.
In it. I don't know if I'd actually like spend a lot of time playing it, but
I mean, I've kind of cooled a little bit on Assassin's Creed between Origins and what's this year's
I
one?
want to like Odyssey, but
Odyssey.
just,
Yeah.
not enough throwing a hat and taking possession of other characters.
Took me a second. I don't know. It's funny watching this because I'm like, oh, right, this is kind of like the Assassin's Creed that I used to like.
Yeah.
Like, not just this big sprawling open world, 1 million dots on the map. Like, I sometimes watch this one guy on YouTube that does like video game news stuff, and he was having a conversation with somebody else about like the state of video games in the world, and he was just like, yeah, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey is such a great game. Like, it's so good. And I was like, is it? Because to me, it's just like boring. Like, it's the same fight over and over again, and you go one dot, here's another dot, here's another dot, here's another dot. Like, I don't care about your fucking dad and that you got thrown off a cliff or you threw your dad and brother off a cliff. I don't even remember what the thing was in that, and like you're being hunted and you're the...
I didn't even get that far into it.
Just bleh. Like, I just bleh. Speaking of bleh, we got an intro for Darksiders 3. This is just kind of rewriting some of the origin stories of Darksiders. Not a lot here.
I will say it's the most character design we've seen for Pestilence since...
Oh, yeah.
since and out of all the games.
Multiple eyes, some kind of wisps coming off the back. Yeah. Yeah, it's... You and I were talking about, like, I can't get a read on this game. Like, for some reason, it's got all the components where it looks like it should be super, super good, but there's something that I'm just like, it's putting me off. Like, there's a, when you smell food and you're like, that smells pretty good, but there's something weird in there that I don't really like. I just can't tell with this one. Like, I don't want to write it off because it's not like they've come out and said, like, oh, it costs $90 and there's nothing but loot boxes in it. But, like, it just seems like they've been reticent to really show the game off in a really big way, and that makes me nervous because it makes me feel like the game isn't good and they're hiding that fact until they finally just put it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend that's like really, really, really looking forward to this game, like hardcore. Basically didn't buy Red Dead Redemption because he can only afford one game every so often, and like his money right now is totally being saved for this.
For Darksiders 3?
Yeah, because he's a huge Darksiders nut.
Man. Wow, that is commitment right there.
And I was like, you have to tell me if it's any good, man, because there's something about those videos. I can't place it. I don't know what it is, but there's something about them that just makes me hesitant.
Yeah. Well, that's all the trailers that we've got. We got a couple more stories before we take a quick break. I don't know if you saw this, but apparently a dude who was the Spanish language voice, I believe Spanish language voice actor, Jose Eduardo Garza Escudero, commonly known as Lalo Garza, went on Twitter to be mad. And what was he mad about, John? Rage! He was mad. He basically, this is the translation, this is a machine translation of his tweet. He says, well, finally I confirmed that the quote-unquote professionals of Pink Noise LOC decided to remove my characters from hashtag Mortal Kombat 11. How sad that a company that wanted to a lot ends up making decisions that affect both you and the consumers. Goodbye, Kung Lao and Reptile. So, and then, of course, he went on later to be like... to say that, like, oh, I don't know if it was Mortal Kombat 11 or 10.5 or whatever, or if they're even making a new Mortal Kombat. Come on, motherfucker, So we pretty much just got a roundabout confirmation that we're going to be seeing Mortal Kombat 11 before too long.
Okay.
Couldn't be happier. Fucking love NetherRealm. NetherRealm has done nothing but great work over the last few years. Everything Mortal Kombat 9 and beyond has just been fucking fantastic. Injustice 10, Injustice 2, like... absolutely fantastic. Goddamn love them. Injustice 2 came out this... Did it come out this year?
No, it was last year.
It was last year. Still trying to put together Game of the Year contenders in my head, even though, we haven't done Game of the Year for 2017.
Did we not do one for 2017?
No, I wanted to finish Persona 5, remember, before we did that stuff? Yeah. We're going to do it in 2019. We're going to do our 2017 Game of the Year. No, next year we're just going to have to say fuck it, right? And just do, like, what did I play? And, like, I think this probably was a good one. We'll have to have a category for, like, I played, like, half of this game. It's probably should be on my list, but I don't have time to finish it. But anyway... I will have time to finish Mortal Kombat 11 because Mortal Kombat is great, and I love Mortal Kombat. And I also love the fact that we find out about it because somebody went on Twitter just be like, "Oh yeah, well I didn't want to be in your game anyway. I didn't want to be in Mortal Kombat 11. I didn't want to be in Half-Life 3." Gabe at Gabe Newell. Yeah. More good news. Apparently, The Walking Dead's final season is going to be finished out by Skybound Games. Okay. Pulling a bunch of people from Telltale over.
Not surprising, considering Skybound Games is owned by Skybound Entertainment, who are the actual co-publisher, or that is the imprint that Image releases The Walking Dead comics under.
Right.
So it's not surprising.
So they're getting some of the former staff, and they're going to basically try to finish out, because it was only supposed to be 2 more. It was supposed to be like 4 episodes total.
Yeah, something like that.
Good news. Good news for you, John.
For me?
Your favorite guy in the world, Eddie Shankar, who made Castlevania, is making a Devil May Cry series.
Sure.
It's funny. Of all the people to make a Devil May Cry series, I feel like Eddie Shankar is probably the best person to do it.
Well, so here's the thing, and this is my thing.
Yeah.
He's going to hire a writer,
Right.
I will give him credit where credit is due. He is good at getting the correct people to write these projects.
Okay.
Like for Castlevania, Warren Ellis.
Right.
For whatever this, I'm sure he'll get someone good to write this game, to write this. And
Devil May Cry, yeah.
Devil May Cry. And it's not the first Devil May Cry animated thing that we've ever seen.
Nope.
Because there's actually a decent anime for Devil May Cry already. I'm willing to give it a chance. My issues with Adi Shankar go towards when it's just something that's not dark and gritty, and him wanting to make it dark and gritty.
Sure.
And then saying that by making it dark and gritty, that makes it good.
He made it better. Yeah.
And that he can go fuck himself.
Okay.
So in that regards.
Yeah, that's why I say Devil May Cry probably a good fit, right?
Yeah.
A good fit.
But, as long as he's not writing it. So as long as he gets someone else to write it.
And last but not least, at the 2018 Golden Joystick Awards, Hidetaka Miyazaki got a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, shit!
My Dark Souls Bloodborne bro. Good job for you. You deserve it. You were the reason that I am like this. So, shame on you. And congratulations.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we are going to answer some questions. So stick around, and we'll see you in just a second.
Okay.
And we're back. And John, it might actually be a slightly shorter back end because this week we didn't have a crap load of questions. But, every time I say that, we end up rolling over.
I talk a lot.
A long period of time. So, mail@racelight.com is the email address. You know what? This isn't really a game review so much as it is. I don't know if we're going to have a Beat Saber video this week, but I did get Beat Saber. I mentioned that earlier, and it's such a simple game. I thoroughly recommend it for anybody that has a PSVR headset because it came out on PSVR this week.
Nice.
It's just so simple. It's so easy, and it's like super fun. Just a rhythm game. You got two lightsabers, and you're just basically bashing down these squares that come at you. Imagine Guitar Hero, but instead of trying to hit notes, you're trying to hit blocks with lightsabers, and that's Beat Saber.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Beat Saber.
It's great. It's really, really fun. Anyway, our first question this week is about Fallout 76, and it comes in from the Unknown Ronin. It's a big one, so we're gonna read a bunch of this stuff. It says, "Dear Ragelight, first off, I'm sorry that you weren't able to enjoy Fallout 76. I watched the live stream and saw how much you were having a bad time, though I enjoyed watching you suffer, so there was at least that."
I had fun.
But in all seriousness, though, the thing about Fallout 76 is that it's very much a niche game. In order to really enjoy it, you have to be big into the survival game genre, since it's essentially Rust, but with a Fallout skin. So right from the get-go, if you're not one for the survival-based games, then Fallout 76 won't be your bag. I didn't get the chance to finish watching the whole stream, so I apologize if this was already talked about, but I wanted to address some of the questions about Fallout 76 story, or at least what they claim to be a story, as well as some of the things that you weren't sure about. If you want to skip to the question, you can find it below. So I'll read some of this. The basic gist of the story is that you have to discover what the Scorched are, as well as how to defeat them, since they threaten to completely wipe out the USA of all life. Spoilers: as you play, you discover the Scorched are humans infected with a blah blah blah, and you gotta nuke them, right? Let's see. As for how the Brotherhood got there, Fallout 76 takes place 25 years after the bombs dropped. By that point, the Brotherhood of Steel has had its power structure and the developments of its culture for a few years, so the Brotherhood would exist by that point. Okay. As to how they got to Appalachia, the Brotherhood of Steel, there are essentially are actually conscripts from the Brotherhood of Steel from California, where the California Brotherhood of Steel has contacted the U.S. Army remnants through a still working satellite system and essentially convinced these Army remnants to join the BOS. Lastly, there are several quests and stories to follow in the game, especially with regards to actual landmarks in Appalachia. For example, the last citizen of Grafton has named himself the mayor of Grafton, and he sends you on various quests so he can bring back tourism to the town despite everybody being dead. You can also hunt cryptids like the Grafton monster, as well as the Wendigo and the Snallygaster. I don't know what a Snallygaster is, but that's a good name. You can even find an Enclave bunker and become a member of the Enclave through a couple of quests. The problem, though, is that there are no living NPCs to give you the stories and quests. They're all done through either robots or holotape, so because of that, it makes the whole experience feel kind of empty. So yeah, I can't fault you for not liking the game, since, like I said, it's a very niche thing. Hope this answers some of the questions, and if you have more, I'll try to answer them. Anyway, on to my question. My question is, when it comes to a Fallout game, what type of setting and story would you want? I think we all know the mechanics and gameplay elements that you'd like to see more of, but what about the setting and the story itself? Would you want more games set in California, like Fallout 1 and 2, or someplace else? I myself would be curious to see a Fallout game that takes place in Texas, maybe around Houston, since Houston is a sprawling hellscape, so they wouldn't have to do much work. As for the story, I think it'd be cool to play the game from a Wastelander perspective, since in the vast majority of Fallout games, you're either a vault dweller or someone related to a vault dweller. Well, I think the only exception being Fallout New Vegas. Anyway, thanks for reading and have a great day. Sincerely, the Unknown Ronan. As a brief note, I do know that in Fallout 2, you are the son of the vault dweller from the first Fallout.
And that's what he said. You're either a vault dweller or
but
related
you are like a villager, like a savage, basically. I mean, not a savage, but you're part of like a tribe of kind of like superstitious people, right? You're not like coming out of the vault. So, and then I think in Brotherhood of Steel, you're part of the Brotherhood, right? Even though everybody forgets about that game.
Yeah, I never played that.
So yeah, but as for where Texas is great, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I mean, I feel like New Vegas kind of has that more westernish kind of theme to it, but like in actual honest to God Texas, you could have, Texas has a lot of different biomes in it, so you could have different kind of sections that were, urban hellscapes, and you got West Texas is a big desert, and as you head towards Louisiana, you start getting a little bit more swampy. You got the coastline, all that stuff. Yeah. That'd be good. You know what I would really like to see, though? Europe. Like, all the Fallout games take place in America.
Yeah, like see what Europe looks like. See what another country, not even just Europe, just see what Russia looks like. See what Japan looks like.
Yep.
Let's see how...
What happened to the rest of China? It'd be really interesting to see... I think, well, there might be lore out there that, like, was China, like, fully new? I'm not good with the Fallout, with the actual, like, what happened in the war backstory. So, who knows? China could just be one big radioactive crater, and I don't know. But I think that would be interesting. I also think it would be interesting. I like the way that, I think I'd like to see what happens, like, further down the road in the Fallout universe. Because... I think that would be really interesting. Or maybe like right after the bombs dropped, because you have people that were there. Maybe you could play as a character that like right after the bombs dropped, you're a ghoul, right? Like you play a ghoul character who has to survive at like what the actual wasteland was like right when everything was falling apart. I think it'd actually be really interesting to play something that maybe even took place that started as a prequel that had a chunk of the game that was before the apocalypse, when the war was going on, right?
More than 4.
More than 4. Because I mean, 4, you just you're an idyllic suburban family.
You create your character, and
because I mean, I liked in Fallout 3 they had the Operation Anchorage, that had like VR recreations of the war with fighting against the Chinese. And I thought that was interesting, even though that it was the DLC was okay. It was a little slightly dull.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the Fallout universe is ripe for a lot of different places.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that the fact that I don't know, or go real deep in the lore and make a Fallout that's like a direct sequel to Fallout 2 that takes place specifically in California. Where did Fallout 4 take place?
Fallout 4 was in Boston.
It was in Boston. That's right. Okay, so. Because Fallout 3 was DC, New Vegas obviously was Vegas, Boston, and then California for Fallout 1 and 2.
Or if they want to be really crazy, recreate Fallout 1 in the current engine.
Yeah.
Like remake it, like, start from scratch, remake it, make it your own thing, make it like a, if they need to retcon some stuff for the new version, do that.
It's not like you haven't already pissed off the Fallout audience.
Yeah,
they're just perpetually angry. So
I mean, just let's do a full on Fallout 1, or if you're not going to do Fallout 1, do a game that takes place in California at the same time and you're a different character.
You know what? I think that Bethesda could make like fucking cash money, dollar bill, y'all, if they like went and got one of those mod teams that's trying to remake New Vegas and Fallout 4 and just integrate them into a sub team at Bethesda, give them the resources and the money that they need and the support, bring in some of your own people, voom up some of the things that were broken in Fallout New Vegas, and make that version of everybody's favorite Fallout game that everybody would want, right? A really super high-res version of Fallout New Vegas that has all of the stuff, but then, amp it up, maybe put that conversation system in. People don't like it, but maybe put it in there and add a little few things to it. You've already got the framework of a really good game there, so maybe just take that, and it wouldn't take as much money as building a new Fallout game from the ground up. I mean, the unfortunate thing, right, is that with Fallout 76 and Fallout 4, we're done. It's like Diablo, right? We're done. I know we're done with Fallout for a while, right? That outside of expansions for 76 and like maybe some stuff for Shelter?
We got 2 other games that are come out from different franchises.
Right.
One being not Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls
6.
The other one being whatever the hell
Starfield
ends up being.
Yeah.
We got at least those 2 things before they even consider what the next Fallout will be.
And they'll probably come up with something else in between those. Like Fallout, I mean, the time between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 was huge, right? I mean, it was a long time between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. So I think that we're done with Fallout for a little while, which is kind of okay for me. I still can install Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas and play them, and I like both of those games quite a bit. Like, I ended up not really liking Fallout 4 the more I thought about it, and I'm not, even from this description, I'm just not going to like Fallout 76. It's strange to me that they would do what they did, because it seems to me like it's just ignoring. You were saying it on the stream. You're just ignoring the thing that people like about the Fallout franchise in order to make something in an entirely different genre. It's like the Dark Souls kart racer thing that I was saying, right? And again, I've been saying over the last few podcasts, if Fallout 76 was compelling, I have no problem. You know what? I would probably even be more compelled with it if instead of holotapes, they just put an NPC. If they just put a person in there that was like, help me, the Scorched have overrun my village. I need you to go kill off all the Scorched so that we can take back over the thing. And then you got to see things happen. It's like one of the core tenets of video games where you see, you feel like you've had an impact on the world. And maybe that's the problem with Fallout 76 is that I don't feel, it just feels very empty because I don't feel like I'm doing anything outside of just clearing out some MMO monsters. I don't know. It's weird. It's just very strange that someone pitched that and they decided, yes, that's what we're going to go all in on.
It really needed more nihilistic dad jokes.
You should go back and watch the live stream where John, there's one groaner after another, and I also felt bad about myself at the end of But yeah, and before we go, I mean, just for anybody who didn't watch the live stream and who isn't going to watch the live stream, John, I think you made a really, really excellent point where you, by stripping out a lot of the things that people like about Fallout, you really and Sterling made this exact same point. So you're very smart.
I know I am.
Is that you're forced to look a Bethesda game. You're forced to look at all the things that were kind of bad about a Bethesda game, and you're forced to really look at them, right? Because there's nothing to take your mind off of it. There's no quest, there's no NPCs to deal with, right? It's just, you're forced to look at the fact that Bethesda's combat in their games has been kind of bad, but that they made up for it by having good stories, right?
Well, so it's kind of, and this, I kind of touched on this during the live stream, and I think I've touched on this pretty much every time I've ever talked about Fallout with you, is that I don't like Elder Scrolls games. I just don't like playing them. I don't think they look good. I don't think they play good. I couldn't give two shits about the story that's going on. Other people do, and that's fine. I understand why people like them, and that's great. Fallout 3, when I first played it, I was like, oh shit, this is Fallout. This is, oh my God, Fallout, new Fallout, new Fallout.
Right.
Played it. Oh man, the story is totally Fallout. You know, it's like, it's great. Play through the story once. I'm like, man, that was a good game. Didn't play it for a couple of months. Come back to it. I don't longer care about the story because I already played it.
Right.
And so now I have to actually look at it as a game, and I'm like, this is not good. This is everything that I hate about Elder Scrolls and those games. And there's some improvements, but I don't think it looks good as a game. I don't think it plays very well as a game. Why the fuck did I like this game? And then I have to think about it and go, oh, I really like the story.
Right.
And the possibilities with that story.
Yeah. Like the moment-to-moment combat in all of those games is kind of meh.
Yeah.
Like I remember when... I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And that's it. And then kind of the same thing with four, you know, Fallout New Vegas. When you're playing the story, yeah, you know, this is... And I actually think that Fallout New Vegas is better on a lot of things than Fallout 3.
Yeah.
You know, and you've even done your video on it and everything.
It came around eventually.
Came around on it.
Took a while.
You know, I don't think it's as great as a lot of people make it out to be, but I do think it's definitely better than Fallout 3. Fallout 4, regardless of how it ranks up against New Vegas, when I first played it, I was like, you know what? I know I'm apprehensive because of what happened with Fallout 3, but I started playing Fallout 4, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of into this. Oh man, the Silver Shroud. This is awesome. I fucking love this. This is great. Okay, now I'm past the story and I'm just playing the game to play it. I do not like this game, man. This crafting system is kind of fucking borked, and I do not like this, and I wish this wasn't here.
Oh man, I'm looking. I gotta find some more Wonder Glue because I want to make a silencer.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is not good. This is what the fuck is this? And then I had to actually, and then you look at 76, and it's like there is no story. I mean, he says there is a story a little bit in the email, but they're for the most part, the story is you go out in the world and make your own story and your own fun, and yeah, there's some stuff you can do along the way, but really the game is about what you do and what you choose to do with your time.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, but your game is fucking borked.
Well, but like, I mean, it's when you dig down deeper, it's like one of the compelling things about the Fallout universe is what does human society look like after the apocalypse? What do you, the Wastelander, do to influence that society? Like, you know, do you help Nick Valentine get his memories back? Do you side with the Brotherhood of Caesar's Legion, Kaiser's Legions?
Are you a tunnel rat for life?
Are you a tunnel snake?
Snake for life?
Yes, tunnel rat was from G.I. Joe.
Oh, sorry.
Are you? Yeah, because tunnel snakes fucking rule. But without any, like, even those fictitious facsimiles. I mean, here's the thing. There's not even it doesn't seem like there's even a system where if somebody wanted to, like, say, pretend to be an NPC, like if another player wanted to essentially pretend to be an NPC, so it's like, oh, well, the impact that I'm having is not on these lifeless computer-generated NPCs, it's on the other people in the world. But when we played it, we ran across, like 3 people the entire time, and, like, they didn't seem really interested in hanging out with us because when you're not doing that, you're just killing monsters. And like raiders, I hated slavers. I've always hated the slavers in the Fallout games, right? So like in Fallout 3, when they're like, oh, you want to be a slaver with us? And I'm just like, haha, that's bam, 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 you're all dead. Like, I fucking hate slavers. But like, I don't hate mole rats. They're just mole rats. Like, they're not doing anything evil. They're just attacking me, and I'm killing them. Like, if they didn't...
I'm invading their territory.
Right. If they didn't attack me, I'd probably just leave them alone. Like, I was never interested in killing, you know, not Brahmin, but, like, you know, death claws. Like, killing a death claw, you know, death claws were difficult enemies, but by the same token, it wasn't like... I never had any feelings about killing a death claw. I never had any feelings. Even the Scorched, I never had any feelings about killing feral ghouls in Fallout, and the Scorched are basically just feral ghouls with guns, and I'm like, I don't feel anything. You're just mindless animals. Like, there's nothing to say about them, humans and morality and society. It's just a bunch of things that are trying to, like, make your bar go all the way down, and it just doesn't really do anything for me. And the other thing, when you were talking about the combat, is that I do actually quite like the combat in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but I like VATS. Because
VATS is the best.
In fact, when I made my Fallout New Vegas video, a lot of people commented and they were like, oh, you use VATS for, like, everything. Like, if you just have to shoot a rad scorpion, you pull up VATS. And I'm like, yeah, bro, because VATS gives you that little cutscene with the shakiness, and then somebody's head explodes, and I'm like, yeah, without VATS, like it's not great. Like, or I like the combat in Elder Scrolls when I'm able to trick people using magic, right, or do stealth. But like when it comes to just holding down the block button and then hitting the one button and then holding down, I mean, like that just isn't good for me. So anyway, I don't understand. And you were 100% right about how like by taking out all the things that were distracting you from those game systems, you're forced to just look at what is under the hood in a Bethesda game, and it's like, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not a terrible game. And I want to stress that. I'm not saying they're terrible games, but they're not great.
No, I remember the year that, I mean, I'll never forget the year that Skyrim came out. It was the same year, it was 2012, the same year that Dark Souls came out.
Yeah.
And when I did my write-up on spill.com for my like top 10 games of 2012, I put Skyrim number 1 and Dark Souls number 2. And over time, I've basically come to the conclusion that like, oh man, I'd rather play Dark Souls in a heartbeat than Skyrim. I played Dark Souls so many more times than I played Skyrim because eventually I just learned how to break Skyrim, and I didn't really want to play. I didn't want to play the combat. Like every one of those games, it's like I finally learned the way to break your combat system, and then I started having fun with the game because I didn't have to worry about like whether I could survive an encounter with a death claw. I could always kill the death claws. I can kill the death claws with a knife, naked. Like it's not a problem. But so anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me. It's very strange. All right, let's see. Henry writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John, my friends and I got into a debate the other day about the place of esports on sports channels like ESPN. The argument that won out at the end of the day was that as long as poker is shown on these channels, they should have no problem broadcasting League of Legends or StarCraft. I know that Heroes of the Dorm is already a thing, but do you think esports could ever have a place alongside something like the NFL? Keep up the good work, Henry." Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. As long as stuff like poker's on those channels, there's no point. There's no reason why esports shouldn't be on those channels.
I think that if it's like you have to decide what sports is, and for a long time there have been a group of people who have decided that you have to basically be very physical in order for it to be a sport. But that argument breaks down in a really weird way for me because there's so many sports that are like very specific, like curling. You have to be like in super, super good shape to curl. Or like if you watch professional bowling, this is a bunch of fat guys like, throwing ball, pool, right?
Yeah, billiards.
So you have to say like, there's a difference between the level of like physical, fitness that you need to have to like be a football player, and the level of physical fitness that you need to have to bowl, right? But they're both sports. They have rules. You're doing a thing. And so it's kind of like the question of art, right? It's like I'm under the impression that it's all art. Like anybody who's trying to gatekeep art, I don't care. Like in esports, you know what? It's a game. It's got rules.
There's teams.
There's teams. They train.
You're playing against other people.
And you know what? ESPN, as far as I'm concerned, I tell you what, if ESPN wants to snub esports, then I feel like great. Put it on a different channel. And as time goes on, you're going to be seeing, because I feel like there's a big chunk of people that, I mean, like I like watching esports. I love watching Overwatch League. Hell, I was at the bar the other day and I looked at one of the mini TVs in the bar by my house, and it was an Injustice 2. It was the one where Furry Fox or whatever won, and it was like the last few rounds of that. It was a Batman versus Joker Injustice 2 tournament, and I was just like, oh, I know this game. Like I know how to play this game, and so when I'm watching him, I can be like, oh shit, he burned me for that, damn. And like, whereas when I watch football, I'm just like, hey, they hit each other, woo. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that ESPN has to cater to me, but I'm saying that if somebody caters to me, if somebody puts Overwatch League and Injustice 2 and Evo and fucking all that shit on TV, the international, I'll watch it because I like video games. So like, you can be elitist and say, nah, we're not going to put that on our channel. Those are for babies. But then all us babies over here, we're a huge untapped market that could be watching your commercials for fucking GMC trucks and mixed nuts, or I don't know what are commercials for on TV these days.
I don't know. I don't watch TV.
I don't know either. Yeah, I guess maybe that's the final point, Henry, is that like no matter what ESPN does, I'm not gonna get cable to watch Overwatch League. It's already on Twitch. Like, as far as I can tell, you can. I mean, like, you'll always have your market of people that are fans of football.
Yeah.
If you'd like to get us, like, if you made the actual Ocho and then like put the Overwatch League on the Ocho, I'll watch the Ocho. I'll go into a bar and ask them to switch one of the TVs to the Ocho so that I can watch Overwatch League, so I can watch the finals of the Overwatch League. They won't do it, but
Yeah.
So yeah, they could. I think that esports are sports. I think everything that's competitive between two people. I think playing War is kind of a sport. The card game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't like to put limiters on like this is a sport, but that's not a sport. That's just playing around.
That's not a knife.
Right.
That's a spoon.
Yeah. So
you've played Knives, These Spoonsies before?
No. What is that?
It's a Simpsons reference.
Oh, okay. That would explain why I don't get it. But yeah, in any case, there's a huge untapped market for people that will watch esports. I mean, just look at the stadiums on Overwatch League or the International or Evo for that matter. There's plenty of people that'll watch that shit. All you have to do is put it on a television and we'll watch it. So you could do that and make money, or you could not do that and be an asshole and then not make money, and then fuck you, we'll all go watch the shit on Twitch and who cares?
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. Is
it's do it stance.
Or don't do it or fuck you. Let's see. Septum Sin versus the World Right Sin says, with Microsoft, I think we already kind of talked about this, but it's never. There's nothing in the world, John, that you and I can't talk to death. So, Septum Sin versus the World says, with Microsoft coming out with a buyback physical for digital program and a disk driveless Xbox One on the horizon, we're once again on the cusp of the elimination of physical media. Do you think this will be the generation that finally ends it all? And how do you feel about the eventual end of all physical media? I have a love of physical media as both a collector and a practical person, as in Virginia, the big two do not always provide solid internet support, and the fact that digital content can be yanked at any time. Your patron, Septum Sin versus the World. So I know you've already talked about,
So I do want to kind of stress something.
Okay.
Again, as I said at the very end.
Yeah.
I know that we're going to digital. That's where the industry is going.
Sure.
I personally don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do I like to have physical media? Yeah. But do I need physical media? No. And for some people they're like, oh, there's no, what about collector's editions and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, they'll still, the
hella collector's editions don't even have the disc with the game anyway. So
a lot of them don't even have the disc with the game. And what will happen is they'll just come with the code to be able to download it. So I mean, it's gonna go there. Despite everything I said earlier, it's gonna go there eventually. I still stand by it's not gonna happen. It's not this next console generation is not gonna be the one that does it. It's probably gonna be the one after, maybe at the earliest.
What do you think about the next console generation starting with media and then having a refresh in the middle that takes the drives out? Like if they start pushing it really hard. I think it's just there's going to be a really, really painful point when they do that, right?
No, you're right.
That's the point where it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with all of my old games? But then I guess the question becomes like, do we think that like the PlayStation 5, let's say, or the Xbox, as I dubbed it earlier, man, if that turns out to be that, I'm going to be so happy. The Xbox, what a bunch of crap. Do we think that they're going to have backwards compatibility just full stop, right? Like, is the PS5 going to be able to play PS4 games? Because Sony has shown very little interest in backwards compatibility.
They give 2 shits, but they couldn't give 2 shits about it.
I mean, PlayStation now, right? But, once again, so like if the PlayStation 5 comes out and it doesn't have PS4 backwards compatibility, do you take that opportunity of the new generation to then launch with no physical media because you're not having backwards compatibility, so all your PS4 games still working PS4, but they were going to work on the PS5 anyway, and then moving forward, all the games on the PS5 have, are full digital, or the Xbox, right? Like, it would seem to be better done at the beginning of a generation than sometime in the middle.
Well, and that's kind of why I also think that it's what you're going to see is either this is the test, like this refresh is the test, and because people still have, and then the next one will be like if they see that the sales are really well and that people are really like skewing more towards that, like not having as much of an issue, then yeah, of course the next console generation is going to go full discless,
right?
But I honestly believe that what they'll do is that this is going to be there to get people used to the idea of it. The next one's probably going to launch with 2 SKUs, disc and discless.
Yeah.
And then the console after that is going to be pure digital. Like, I honestly feel like it's going to be a gradual, like, I think that's what Microsoft is going, well, maybe if we gradually did it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone that's going to buy one has one, so why don't we release this one now of the console everyone already has,
right?
Just to see what it does. Like, it's not going to cost us more to do this. It's, we already have the consoles, we just remove the drive.
Yeah.
So let's do this, see what the waters are, and if it doesn't sell at all, well,
then we know.
And then we still release our dual discless and disc version, but we produce less of the discless version.
Sure.
And then if it's still the physical one is still the one that everyone's buying, well, then we know. We definitely double know.
Yeah.
And we have to readjust for that. Alternatively, if let's say this does really well, then they go, oh, we can just fucking not produce that. The disc version. We'll just move ahead, and then if people, fire up and be like, no, fuck you, we were okay with it when it was an extra thing, but not when it took it away entirely.
Right. Then
we were like, well, we already had the schematics and plans for the disc version, so it doesn't take much to put it back into production.
What do you think about Nintendo? You think that we might ever see like a Switch refresh that doesn't have a cartridge on it? You don't think so?
No, I think they're gonna have I honestly feel like Switch is gonna, at the very least, always gonna have some type of cartridge.
Yeah.
Because, man, Nintendo has been pushing cartridges for so long now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, what, Wii U, Wii, GameCube were all disc, right?
Yeah, but you got to remember, so the N64 was originally supposed to be a co-production with Sony.
Right.
And it was supposed to be a disc console. It wasn't supposed to be Sony didn't like that, because Sony didn't like the idea of the CDs. They wanted a proprietary hardware like cartridge, which is why the N64 has a cartridge.
Okay.
And when they finally broke down and went to CD, they went to those really fucking tiny discs that are not like any other fucking console with the GameCube.
The GameCube ones.
And then when people, when they're like, all right, fine, we'll go to full-blown CDs.
Right.
And even the fucking Wii U discs, those are fucking weird-ass discs, man. They're actually a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker than an actual CD.
Really?
Yeah.
I do know that they feel real nice on the edges. They don't have the sharp edges of CDs, like the beveled edge on them.
Yeah, they have a beveled edge on them, and they're a little bit thicker and they're a little bit wider than an actual CD.
Interesting. Can you put them in a like a CD drive for a computer? They fit?
I think so. I think they're just slightly big enough that they're still within the size limit, but they are like a slightly bigger.
Huh.
The only reason I know that is because, and this may be giving away a little bit more than I want, when you mail a disc through the postal service has a thing that compacts all the mail to make it nice and stacked. If you put a envelope with a regular CD, it's fine. But if you put one with the Wii U, it actually bends the disc and destroys the disc.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't look, and then when you get the disc, it doesn't look like there's any damage to it or anything, but the data is completely destroyed because of the way the disc was bent.
Good job, Post Office. And what was the other, one more question. This is kind of like a polling question. Oh, well, if you, okay, yeah, here, this is an opinion question. I don't know. Like, the thing is that it's so early. Like, we have no, like, I don't even know if they're going to do you think they'll do a hardware refresh on the Switch in a year or two?
I mean, they might.
It's selling really good.
I mean, they might at some point do a hardware refresh to basically make it.
You think they'll do a bigger one?
No, I think it'll be kind of the same thing, but I just think it'll be better parts.
So just slightly better like GPUs and a little bit more RAM.
Yeah, it's a little bit, maybe it's a little bit lighter. Maybe the controllers do a little bit more. Or, because that's kind of Nintendo's MO is whenever they do a hardware refresh, it's always never really to add new features or to change it. It's always just to make it cheaper for them to produce.
I don't know. New 3DS was a much different system.
I mean, that was kind of one of the few times they did that, with the exception of the...
Well, DSi.
No,
I mean,
the Advance
for DS
also did it as well, but...
But yeah, I take your point. But the real question I was going to ask before we move on to the next one is like, let's see, if the Xbox, right? I'm glad I've made this as confusing as possible. If the next generation Xbox, the Xbox, was $400 for the disc version and say $200 for the discless version, would you shell out the extra $200 to get a disc version, or would you just go with discless? Would you like what's the monetary margin that would make you like? I understand that if it's like $350 for the discless version and $400 for the disc version, all right, I'll get the disc version. Maybe it's $300.
I think if it was
like,
$200 and $400,
yeah,
I would probably go with the discless version, because it's the cheaper version of the console.
Okay.
Well, with the understand, assuming that's the only difference,
right?
Because there's also been some rumors that this new, for example, like the rumors about this discless Xbox. It's just a basic bare bones Xbox. Like, it's not an Xbox One X without.
Right.
It's also not an Xbox One S without a drive.
Right.
It's the bare bones standard Xbox without a drive.
Well, wasn't it? I mean, that One S didn't have any like graphical improvements, did it?
It can play 4K.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep, you're correct. Okay. So, okay. Hey, interesting. I mean, that's one of the things I heard. I could be entirely misreading that. Maybe it is an S without the drive. That it could totally be that. Or obviously they haven't announced anything. It's all rumors. People are speculating every which way. Right.
So I mean, if it was just literally the difference is one has a drive and one doesn't, but outside of that, it's 100% the same console. Fuck yes, I'm going to go for the cheaper one, because that's also insulting that a drive costs $200 more.
Right.
But if it's a thing where, it's like, without the drive, it's essentially like an Xbox One S, and then you pay $200 more, and it's like twice the power.
It's an X.
Yeah, it's an X.
Yeah,
comparatively.
It feels like the driveless. The $200 one is an S with no drive, and the $400 one is an X with a drive. Then yeah, that definitely changes the.
Yeah, I might lean more towards the X with the $200 because it's a more powerful system.
Right.
But even then, I may still.
I'm starting to really get like. I'm starting to think that power is a little bit overrated.
Oh no, it is. I mean, Nintendo's proved that it's overrated at this point.
Anyway, all right. This one, I don't know if this one will do. If this one works for you, Ken, not Keith, writes in. Before I read this question, I'll just ask you: do you watch any of the like abridged anime stuff on YouTube?
I know of it, specifically the Dragon Ball abridged. I've seen some of it, but I haven't been like hardcore like watching.
Because he writes in and says, "What's up, Prophets of Rage? It's your new patron, Ken." Although I am a new patron, I've been listening since you were Humble Professor on a cartoon movie website. Honestly, I have all the classic shows on my computer, so when I'm at work, I listen to all of your classic shenanigans. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well.
But my question for you is, what are some of your favorite abridged series? I know you talked about liking the Fists of the North Star abridged, and a while back, I'm very fond of the SOA Sword Art Online abridged because of my dislike for that anime. Thanks for answering and rage on Kian, not Keith. I think Matt brings that up a lot because
Michael also does a lot, especially with DBZ Abridged, because Michael is always talking about DBZ Abridged.
So maybe I'll save this one and bring it back up when Michael or Matt is on the show. Because unless you have,
I don't really have.
I've never seen any of them.
I've watched some of the DBZ, the early DBZ Abridged stuff, which it's funny, but it's also kind of on point as well.
Right.
Like they literally just. They condense like multiple episodes into like a 10 to 15 minute clip, and also change some of the dialogue to A, be a little funny, but B, also to get the point across better.
Okay.
Like, but in a funny way.
Interesting.
Yeah, at least that's how it was to me. I could be, someone's probably going to email. I was like, that's not what the abridged is. You're talking about something else.
Yeah.
But that's how it always, but it was like a way to kind of get through. The abridged series is a way for people who don't want to watch 200 and some odd episodes of fucking Naruto.
Right.
Or Bleach or Dragon Ball Z.
So they aren't just like fully comedy things. Like some of them are actually seriously like an abridged telling of the story.
I mean, even the DBZ ones, it's somewhat serious, but they do some humorous stuff with either the lines of dialogue or or just like if you're a fan of it and you actually did watch all that stuff, there's maybe a joke that you might get that someone who's never seen it may not think is funny, or they might find it's funny. I don't know.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on. Jack Sachs writes in and says, hey, Rach Light, after watching your shape-shifting detective video, what are some games that you think best utilize full-motion video? And do you think FMV games could ever be more than just humorous, stupid, and or clumsy gameplay designs? Can one ever actually become universally great amongst gamers and media? I think they work best in small doses, like in Hellblade. Thanks a bunch, you magnificent meatbags. And that's from Jack Sachs. So Hellblade had just the overlay ones, right? Like it wasn't the game itself wasn't FMV, but then they had like there was a guy that would talk and his FMV face would like come up over the game. Yeah. It was it was kind of jarring. See, I didn't even like it very much there, where it was like it was weird. Every time you mix FMV and non-FMV, it becomes
you hit the uncanny. You see the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Like that's where the uncanny valley becomes more apparent.
Yes. Like the worst is that fucking
Quiet Man.
Quiet Man. God damn, is that jarring and terrible? Because
I haven't played it.
What's that?
I haven't played it.
Don't. It's terrible. Not only that, but like I watched a whole video essay about how they make you like they added in that speech pack.
But you still have to beat the game.
You still have to beat the game to play it. It's like, and then apparently it's bad. Once you do that, it's still bad. I don't know. I mean, like of the games that I have liked that had FMV, I mean, like back in the old days, I liked some of them. Like when Wing Commander 3 came out and it had FMV in it, I was just like, whoa. Night Trap works pretty well. Like I liked Night Trap. But for the most part, I don't really like them all that much.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some interesting ideas with FMV games. Like now that FMV, because it also feels like there's been kind of a video games, like independent video games have been kind of going through phases.
Yeah,
like we got the retro 8-bit indie craze, and then we got the 16-bit. And then we kind of skipped over the 64-bit because it just looks like garbage. And then now we're kind of in that resurgence of people doing FMV stuff, and what that actually means.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, technically, you could almost even say that some games are borderline FMV, even though they don't use full motion video because they're capturing the stuff like
motion capture.
Just like Quantic Dream stuff, and even the people who made Until Dawn,
Uncharted.
Uncharted even. Yeah. Like where do you it's not full motion video, but it's so close to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like, and even people who are doing full motion or FMV stuff, like the company that makes pretty much everything that's from the transforming detective or whatever, the shape-shifting detective.
Oh, right.
Whatever that doctor one that they made was.
Yeah, the
psychiatrist one.
Incurable Madness of Dr. Decker or whatever that was called.
And then also, what was it, the Late Shift or whatever it was called?
I don't think that was the same.
I thought that was the same.
I don't know if that's the same company.
I thought that was the same company.
I don't know. Here, let me look it up. Because Late Shift actually kind of worked, but even... Like, that was one of the best FMV games I've ever played, and even that was like...
It's just a choose-your-own adventure.
It was not... Yeah, it wasn't great. Like, I mean, it's just... There's no way to use FMV in a way that... who the fuck makes this? Devecchi Studios Limited.
Yeah.
Okay. It was published, I think, by the same publisher. But anyway... I think that the only one I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry. I've been doing that a lot
it's
recently.
like, so I mean, you even have, as much as I hate to bring it up, Super Seducer.
Yes.
you have people experimenting with what you can do
right
with FMV.
Yeah.
And experimenting on how far they can push it, and especially now with VR, of doing FMV stuff in VR.
Yeah, I was like, Robert Rodriguez put out a movie this week.
Yeah, it's apparently not on PS4 yet, but it's coming to PS4.
Yeah, it had PSVR in the trailer.
It's starring Michelle Rodriguez and Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Where you're like the main character, but it's one of those essentially where you're just like stationary and the movie moves around you.
But it seemed like it'd have some kind of interactive element, some kind of like hit a button, like
I don't know. But so like I feel like that's where you're going to see the most experimentation with it, and probably the closest to being interesting is probably with VR stuff.
Maybe.
But I don't like. I feel like just like back in the day when it felt like FMV was kind of a gimmick.
Yeah.
With Night Trap and Sewer Shark and and all those what
Marky Mark's dance.
The Ripper, Marky Mark's Make My Video.
Yeah.
Marky Mark Make My MTV and Marky Mark Make My Video. And then like I said, the Ripper which had Christopher Walken in it. It was a Jack the Ripper kind of thing. And then all those like PC point and click style games like
Phantasmagoria.
Yeah, those. While some of those are fondly remembered, and like Seventh Guest and things like that, some of those are fondly remembered, and some of them are even good. I wouldn't say any of them were great, and even when they were coming out, we all knew those were just kind of a gimmick. Like those were just kind of this niche thing that wasn't going to be the norm.
You know what? I think you could do it, but you would just have to make sure that you did it in a way where you never saw anything that wasn't. That like I think it could work in like a Wing Commander setting, like because I think that Wing Commander kind of worked that way, where it was like all that you were doing in Wing Commander was in between missions was going to different places and watch people just talk, right?
Yeah.
So having Mark Hamill and a guy in a fucking cat costume act at each other for 10 minutes in between missions, and then you get inside of a ship and play this very abstracted thing. It's just the problem is that like. When you put a person inside of a digital environment and it just doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe it could work. Nobody's ever actually. No company is going to put up the money, the big budget money, to try to like integrate a bunch of actual professional actors on green screen into an environment where they look believable in the environment. It'd be easier to do mocap. It'd be easier to do mocap than it would be to.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that it's so much easier to do mocap. They might as well. Because I mean, like you said, the Quiet Man.
Yeah.
They tried.
Yeah.
I commend them in that they tried. But even when it switches from the FMV to the game, it's jarring.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where I don't know if it'll become the norm. I think it's kind of a fad right now. That's us trying to, especially with the fact that the technology for filming is so cheap that anyone can do it.
Yes.
So you have a lot of independent people who want to make games, and it's a lot easier to film someone do something than it is to learn how to code. Or not learn how to code, but learn how to create a 3D model. Well, not even just that, but just learn how to create a 3D model, learn how to skin that model, learn how to so with that technology becoming cheaper, it's of course, this was going to become a thing again.
Right.
If it'll stay a thing, I don't know.
Yeah. I did want to say there were 2 Star Trek FMV games.
Yes.
And I liked them. Star Trek Borg and Star Trek Klingon. And one of the reasons that I liked them so much is that, like, especially in Star Trek Borg, they had all the sets from Star Trek, and they had a bunch of kind of like no-name actors. But then the kind of thing was that John Delancey was in there as Q, and so he was like the video game. So like if you fucked up too hard, he would come in and be like, well, looks like you didn't do that right. I'm not letting the universe fall apart this week. Like, I'll go put you back where you're supposed to go. But yeah, I don't know. That one kind of worked a little bit. Anyway. All right, let's see. We got a couple of questions here, and then we're going to finish up. Let's see. This one comes in from Dr. Professor Wiener S. Schnitzel, who says, hello, Jeff and John. Recently, I restarted playing some Kerbal Space Program, and I'm totally crushing it right now. I went to Duna and Eve, no problem, unlocked most of the tech tree, and want to explore even deeper space. Sorry for some bragging, but now to the real question. What would you like to see in Kerbal Space Program 2 if it would ever come out? Cheers, Dr. Professor Wiener S. Schnitzel. So,
Jeff? This is a you question.
I guess you don't really. It's funny. I was thinking about it. So there were a couple things that came to mind. The first thing that came to mind was building the game from the ground up so that you can play it on the console. Because even with the update that they did to like make the PS4 version work better, because they released it, it was just like virtual mouse, right? Which sucks. And they released this other one to kind of like make it a little bit better, but they split the difference, which also sucks. Like, it would be nice to be able to play that game because it's one of those games that has a bunch of modifier buttons because, you know, it's like, oh, well, look around, but if you want to change this axis, then hold down the R1 button to do this. If you want to get to this like subset of controls, hold down the L2 button and then press square in order to do this. It's just like, I'd like you to change it a little bit so that you could do it easier. Two, I think that the world of Kerbal Space Program, like the actual world of Kerbin, like it doesn't have anything on it except for the Kerbal Space Center. Like it doesn't have any cities or anything. Like it's just procedurally generated Comanche-style voxel canyons and then the Kerbal Space Center, and that's kind of it. Or at least as far as I was ever able to tell. And three, I think that they should tutorialize it more. I think it should have a very, very like long tutorial that teaches you what you need to know to actually put stuff into orbit. They have a tutorial, but it's like disconnected from the main game. So maybe what I'm asking for is like a campaign mode, like a real campaign mode where they're like, shit, Dr. Kerbin, we got to get to the moon. All right, let's go through all the steps to get to the moon and like ask you to do stuff and then put it in your hands. But like, you know, I didn't understand how to play that game one fucking little bit until I started watching YouTube videos. Like the game itself did not explain enough to me until I started watching YouTube videos. In fact, I still remember the Sunday stream where we played Kerbal Space Program and I was just like, I don't know. Actually, I think Kayla hated that game, right?
Yeah.
I liked it. I finally got into it, but Kayla was just like, no, sir, not for me. Thank you very much. But yeah, those are probably the only things that I would do. I mean, you know, and nothing big. I think it's a really fun game, and I honestly don't know why you would go back to the drawing board to make a second one at this point. Our last question this week comes in from Will. Will says, hi, Jeff and strangely attractive co-host John. A non-gaming related question here. If you had to live in another city outside the United States for a whole year, where would you choose and why? Love to work since the spill days from Will. I think I might have actually read this question last week, but I still will answer it a second time because...
And I wasn't on last week's episode.
John wasn't here last week, so... John, if you had to live in one city outside the United States for a whole year, where would you live and why?
Outside
of the United States.
Man, I actually probably would either do Denmark, probably Copenhagen.
Oh, sorry, we totally did answer this. My brain was churning. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, probably either like Copenhagen, Denmark.
Okay.
Or maybe like Tokyo.
Okay.
Japan, or someplace in Scotland.
Yeah.
One of those three.
Okay. Works. And I'm pretty sure that I answered this question last week because I'm pretty sure that I put on the caveats of like, you can speak the language no matter where you go. And
I would go even if I don't speak the language because in a year I'm going to pick it up or at the least be able to get by enough.
Yeah. And that you have a job, like guaranteed job.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I said last week. I think I said Tokyo as well last week. I'm a real big fan of Europe. Maybe Australia. Maybe I don't know. Maybe someplace really crazy. Uganda. No, don't go there. I don't know. I really liked Holland when I went there. When I went to Europe. So
yeah, I mean, I actually technically stayed in Denmark for about 4 months, so I mean, a year wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah,
that's why I was like Copenhagen. That would be probably the first place I would immediately say, just because I know I could live there.
Sure.
And obviously Tokyo, Japan, because you could say, oh, you're a weebo white guy, I want to live in. It's like, no, I just want to live, near places where I can get cool video games. Like, it's less about being in Japan and more about like their stuff there that I like kick-ass video games and stuff like that I can't get here.
Right, man. I'll take it. I'll take the weeaboo shit. I don't even care. Like, I mean, just I would like to see Japan, and Japan seems like it's got a lot of cool shit going on. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we're going to wrap it up, because we're running out of steam, and we got one more video to record today. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Mail at ragesite.com is the email address. Please get some questions in. This exhausted all of my questions. I don't want to have to ask for questions next week. So just get them in. Get them in the mail.
Send them in.
Ragesite.com. Also, there's somebody out there, I'm not gonna name them, I'm not gonna name and shame over here, who just keeps sending me like just a link to a news story and then thoughts ? I'm never going to read that as a question on this show.
Well, look, I just need to know, Jeff.
Right? Like, if you can ask it in the form of a question that I can read on the show.
So should I say, what are your thoughts? ? I mean,
you've seen how this is. Hey, Jeff.
I just need to know. I need you to click on the link, Jeff.
Right.
Just click on my link that I'm sending you.
I'm not going to give you my password. I already told you. I'm not giving you my password. Anyway, yes, that's the end of our show. Thanks, everybody. And remember, you can't have my password.